Oh yeah. Well, welcome all to the Red Dead Redemption 2 Spoilercast. A game mired in secrecy, and by secrecy I mean I just tell Pearl to play it and I don't say anything else besides you should just play it.
He's mean to
Because
me.
I'm really good at pitching. So
He believes.
I really don't know how to start this off because this is going to be the first review discussion where you know, most of the people in the discussion had already played it, and then Pearl's kind of like catching up to the bandwagon. So I guess what I will say is, Pearl, why don't you just start with your top level thoughts, and then immediately rewind the clock to before you even started playing the game. What did you expect slash anticipate
Mm.
before venturing on it? So, with that being said, I'll let you just monologue while Arthur's riding the horse.
Well, high level thoughts is hard because the game is pretty long. And at a high level, there's still like a lot I want to say, but I'll try not drone on too long about my high level thoughts. Basically fantastic, just absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed it. Uh, I don't know what I was expecting because I only thing I really knew about the game genuinely was it's so good. And especially only thing I knew about the game was that my friend's dad has replayed it like actually upwards of 10 times and has like thousands of hours in the game. And that's like the most level of detail that I was aware of. I knew you could ride horse, and that's about it. Um, So everything I knew about it was based on my assumptions from the name and the like design from like the title, like box, the from the box art. And that's not much. I assumed it had to do with like redemption, but like that's a broad topic. Um yeah, I knew it was a cowboy game and I don't really know what that meant in my head. Um, yeah, I'm glad I went into it so blind. Like, I know the game has been out for a long time and it's a game that's like very critically acclaimed and people love it and stuff. So it's really awesome that I didn't have really any significant spoilers or anything to speak of. Um, the game itself, like, is just so fantastic. Like, everything I want to say about it gets a lot more into like the specifics of things I like, but playing it kind of brought me back to playing Breath of the Wild, which is like, they're both open worlds, you ride horses, whatever. That's kind of like easy comparison, but I compare it to that for me personally because like Breath of the Wild was one of the first Switch game I played, but more importantly, it was like one of the first like non-Pokemon games I played. Um, and I love Pokemon, I always will, but like it was like a game that made me go, "Oh shit, games." And the last year I played a lot of games, but I just like didn't feel super connected to many of them. Even if I enjoyed them. Um, but Red Dead almost right away, I felt like a much deeper connection to the story and characters and just the world. And it made me go, yeah, this is why I like to play games. This is why I like the stories that games tell. This is why I like video games as a medium of storytelling. Um, and yeah, like I know Patrick was at my house one day when I was playing it, and I started walking through roads, and immediately it was like, oh my God, I'm about to get into a shootout. I can tell. Like, and he was like, what? Like trying to be like he didn't know that that was about to happen. but like just the environmental storytelling is so good that like immediately noticing the little changes like in the town, I knew what was about to happen. Um, and I just think that that just like shows just like the amount of like effort they put into every little scenario in the game. Um, yeah, I yeah, I think the only thing that could have like made me enjoy it more is if Patrick wasn't such a little bitch
Oh,
and gave me hints.
oh,
Gave me hints as I played it. No, I'm kidding. But I do, and I've had this problem with a lot of games recently. Like, is like really wanting to get to the end of the fucking story because I'm so interested in the story, but like getting frustrated because the game has like all these exploration elements that I want to also do. And like in this game, obviously, like you can still go back and do exploring at the end, but you know, things change. And I really wanted to do all my exploring as Arthur. And I didn't know that he was going to die. Like I knew he was by that point. Like I knew that. That was pretty obvious one way or another he was going to die. But I didn't know exactly how that would shake out. And I think I said to Patrick at one point, I know the game ends in Saint Denis because we're going on this kind of like loop of the map, but we haven't touched that area at all. So the end of the game must be down there. And I was right. But what I was wrong about is that like then you play as John during that time. Nothing wrong with him. I know people love his character and everything, and Red Dead 1 he is him and all that stuff, but like I didn't really want to play as John. I still wanted to be playing as Arthur, and that kind of made me sad. Like that was like the one thing I was like, damn it. I'm so happy that now I know how this story ends because I really at that point just really wanted to know. But I also wanted like to get to explore the whole map as him and all that stuff. And that's like a specific problem to me that I don't really know how to go about fixing.
mhm.
But I've been thinking about that at the end of the game. And yeah, it was so good. I have like so many specific things I want to say about the characters and themes and all that kind of stuff. But at a high level, just like super good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think before, I think to like start dipping our toe into the pond of this discussion, I think we can kind of just start with how the game kind of starts. We are in the middle of a kind of a blizzard, a snowstorm. You're fleeing with your gang. You don't really know who's all in the gang. You encounter the O'Driscoll kind of cabin in the middle of the woods, which turns into this whole situation where they end up needing to continue to flee, save John, which is a running theme throughout the game of saving John, and eventually ending up on the outskirts of Valentine. During this whole period and process of just like getting exposed to the world, and more specifically Arthur's world, which is the Vanderlyn gang, what was your thoughts and feelings as you were like meeting all these characters who would end up be, basically your family members throughout the duration of the story?
Well, the one good thing I can say is from the rip, I knew Micah was a piece of shit. And I never thought he would get redeemed. I knew I hated him. And I'm glad I could sense that. Because sometimes I'm like, that might not be that bad. But no, I was like, you're a piece of work and I fucking hate you. You suck balls. And he does. So that's great.
I think the one hint that I gave you was the fact that I kept insisting that Micah's not that bad.
Yeah, and I didn't even like consider that to be a hint of any kind. I was just like, whatever, man. You just want me to second guess myself. Um, And I knew you were being a little shit stained by saying it, so I didn't consider that to mean anything. Um,
Yeah, it was all pump fakes, and I had a really good time just trying to lie and be like, he's not that bad. You just don't, you're not really seeing it from his point of view, which was a very fun role to play. As Micah progressively just gets worse and worse.
yeah, he's such a bitch ass. Like, oh my god, I hated him from the start. Everyone else, like, I was not like super taken by anyone right away, and I remember that from the first time, like as well. Like I played just the first chapter before, and then I stopped because just a bunch of like real life things got in my way. Um, so I was kind of like, there's a lot of people to meet, and I don't really know any of them, and I'm a little confused. But I remember being like, well, okay, so Dutch clearly did something wrong in Blackwater, and Arthur like is not necessarily like doubting him, but he's like just trying to get like an explanation. And I remember like feeling like, why the fuck is everyone so dodgy about this? Like, don't you understand what's going on here? Um, and I know that like when you find John at the beginning, like Arthur's kind of like hemming and hawing about it a little bit, and I think it's Charles. It's Charles or Xavier. I think it's Charles though. That's like, no, we have to go find him. Like he would do the same for me, and I'm like, okay, so like I can see some of like the camaraderie here, but I'm like confused. Like, why are these women and one child there? Like, it does like I'm just like, how do they fit in this like makeshift family? And I think like all of this is purposeful, right? Like, you are thrown into like this super disjointed situation that the characters are in, and you're like kind of putting together pieces of like things that Arthur doesn't exactly know. Like, did John make it out of Blackwater? What happened in Blackwater? Um, and just like you're trying to survive. And when you're in a survival situation such as that, there's not like a lot of like, hey, we're going to sit and talk about our feelings, you know? So you have to get to a place of safety before you can get some of those answers. And in a way that's jarring, because one thing I guess I did know about the game going in is that, you know, it's an open world game. There's a lot of exploration and stuff. But this part at the very beginning, like you're very like in this situation that the like exigence the I can never say this word. I know what word I'm trying to say, but my mouth doesn't like the sounds. Exigency like of the situation like
Hmm.
doesn't allow you to go and explore, and so that kind of like threw me off for sure. Like I was like, but wait, I'm supposed to be able to go ride my pony and go do things, but I'm like you know, trying to get my folks out of this situation. um which I think actually works really well in this game, like because it forces you to like go through this basically tutorial section of the game in a way that's still like super story driven and doesn't make you like uh, like complete the tutorial in a way that's like limiting and boring, if that makes sense. Like
Hmm.
you're just like out on the plains doing like, I'm gonna teach you how to to ride a horse, when you're supposed to be a cowboy that knows how to ride a horse. It's like you find a horse in a barn, and you're not good at bow hunting, and you need to get like deer, so we're gonna go teach you how to bow hunt because we need deer and we need to not shoot them out here because then we'll scare off all the deer. um Yeah, and it's funny because they're all like shitting on each other the whole time still though. And I know like when they saved John, I was like, why are they so mean to him? Like they're being really mean to him about this. And it seems like it was a bad situation, but like they're kind of being jackasses, and that's just kind of their personality. But um, coming into the game not knowing anything about them, it really like immediately gets you pretty understanding of the um, temperature of the game.
Hmm.
Oh, and there's one point in that first part, I think, where like Dutch gives a speech or something, and I was like, okay, this guy's like pretty chill. Like he's like kind of a leader guy. Okay, I kind of get it. Like, yeah, yeah, and like I don't think he has a lot of like the kind of like kind of yelling at Arthur to trust him in a way that felt like he was forcing it at that point. You know, it was like a we're in a survival situation. I need you to trust me, and I know you're scared. Is more how it felt,
Hmm.
rather than like you need to trust me or you're a traitorous bitch. You know, as
Yeah.
he becomes.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, you definitely get that vibe that, like, Dutch is that kind of paternal figure to Arthur, gives him a lot of
Mhm.
guidance, lends a lot of wisdom, just because Dutch is, of course, the leader, and Arthur serves that lieutenant role very well, just carrying out orders to a T. And so they have this, like, very strong kindred bond early on that is, like, really quite beautiful, and how it, like, changes over the course of the story, as you know, Arthur will eventually come to doubt Dutch, and Dutch kind of seemingly, still fervent in his resolve and what he's committed to, but at the same time kind of flying off the hinges when it comes to seeing reality and what the group is kind of confronting. It is a really, really cool kind of like character dynamic kind of evolution. And I'm not trying to jump ahead, but it is definitely one of the things that you can identify early on, in addition to Micah not being the best. But yeah, as we get to the outskirts of Valentine and you kind of run through this rinky dink town, you also kind of get past that tutorial section, and you're kind of let off the leash, so to speak, of like, hey, you can kind of wander outside Valentine. Why don't you go see what's out there? Whether that's a side quest for John or one of the other crew members, and all that. So, what did you feel? How did you feel generally about the open world within Red Dead 2 and like the activities that it has? And I think at this point, I don't think I actually introduced you into this discussion, but Ryan is here to do some spoilery talks, and I. This is not necessarily a story beat, but if we're talking about general open world and game mechanics and whatnot, I feel like you got a lot to say here as well. So, Pearl, I'll let you give your thoughts on exploring the world of Red Dead 2 and participating in its activities and stuff like that. And then, yeah, we can jump in here and give our thoughts as well.
I kind of already said that like um I love the open world aspect. Like it's like one of the things that I like the most about the game, and I like open world games a lot. Like I think they're I would ultimately say it's like my favorite probably just because you get so immersed in the world, but you know, that's not I don't know if I would say it's my favorite, but when I play a game like this, it just makes it clear how much I adore open world games, just because of everything that's put into them
Mm-hmm.
and just how much you can do and explore. I will say, like, Red Dead was interesting because, like, in the first part, well, in the, I guess it's the second chapter, when you're in Valentine area, like, you're still kind of getting the tutorial in some ways. Like, go to the town for the first time and do this. And so I was already like getting off and exploring, and I was like, why can't I fish? I know I can fish. Why can't I fish? And then eventually it became clear to me that I couldn't fish because I hadn't done like the quest with, I think it's Jack, to like teach him fishing, and then I am tutorialed how to fish during that. Um, so I there was a little bit of like a weirdness for me of like doing things out of order, which is like why I liked how the first chapter of the game is done, because you are really constrained and not able to wander off while you learn like the core mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that kind of goes away in that second act. But I went off really far towards Strawberry area before even rescuing Micah from there. Um, and I explored a lot over there. I explored all over the middle of the map. I need to pull up the map and remember what everything's fucking called. Red Dead Redemption 2 map. But I tried going over. Oh, you get the quest from the one guy in the secondary saloon in town in Valentine to like go see all the famous gunslingers. And at one point, I was like, I'm gonna start trying to do that one. So I went to go find Black Bell, and that's all the way the fuck over in all the way the fuck over in Lemoyne, like in getting near to Saint Denis actually. And for some reason I went and did that, and I think I like ran into like the night folk and just got my ass beat, and it scared the shit out of me, and so then I kind of stopped exploring a little bit because I was scared of them, and I kind of kept more to the Valentine area, which is New Hanover type forest. What do I think about the open world mechanics? I think the map is fucking huge, and some areas are so much harder to like get around than others. Like, I wish there were, I don't know, like just like a fucking repel from Pokemon. Like, that's like the thing I'm thinking of is like, I want to walk around at night without being scared of a cougar. But also, I like that I can't do that. Like, it's very, they try and make it realistic in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I don't know. The open world is so fun. I love all the things that you can run into. It's interesting when you get to some spots and they do start, like, repeating, like, some encounters, but that happens not too often. It's mostly, like, the opponent gangs kind of showing up and jumping you at the same few spots. Yeah, I loved just, like, walking around and then, like, walking into, like, one of those side quests. People that, like, reoccur. And not expecting them to, like, be out somewhere random, like the photography guy who I loved. Yeah, there's just so much great stuff to explore on the map. It is just, like, so fucking big. Like, there are some areas that I still have, like, barely explored. And that's, like, one of the reasons, like, I really want to, like, almost just play it again from this top. Because I want to explore some of these places even further.
How did you feel about the hunting and fishing in this game?
Fuck the fishing. The fishing is bad. I'll say it. Everyone else is afraid to say it. The fishing, not good. Bad, in fact.
Wow.
And here's why. The fishing is bad.
Because it's not Stardew Valley.
No, I'll say it. Fishing in every video game isn't good. I don't know if there's a video game that has good fishing. And people are afraid to say it, but I'm not. Like, fishing in video games, fucking stupid and shit.
Wow.
Because the mechanic of it is so fucking hard.
Wow.
And I have ADHD, so I'm disabled.
It sounds like a skill issue that's popping up here more than...
No, it has to just be that it's bad.
Weren't you a pescatarian?
I would love to be a pescatarian if I was rich, yeah. The fucking spinning the bean of your controller and fucking flicking it and pressing the buttons, like, it's so fucking difficult.
Holy shit.
And it's just stupid as shit. It's bad. Hunting was great, though. Hunting was very fun. I like the idea of the fishing, but God, it's fucking mechanically awful. It's so awful.
Okay, so not good at fishing, but likes hunting. Did you have a favorite hunting memory, or did you have a favorite legendary hunt that you partook on?
I thought it was fun to hunt the beaver, because I like beavers. I also, like, accidentally walked into the territory of the legendary grizzly bear, and I was like, oh shit, and so I went in there and then I got it, which was awesome. I did hunt some of the legendary fish, and it was terrible. Um, what are the other ones I did? I think I did the boar. I did the elk. Oh, I like the mission where you hunt the like white cougar with the guy, and then he dies. The guy that we have a that took on a debt from the gang.
Mm.
That one was fun because you go in the cave. I never went in another fucking cave. They're so scary. Um, I wanted to actually. I marked a few places, but I ended up finishing the game before I went back to them. Um, were there like legendary? Were there legendary like squirrels and stuff? Like I was curious, like how. I don't think there were. They were only like the big beasts, but I actually something that I thought was really interesting about the legendary hunts that I'm curious like what you think about it is like um obviously with the regular animals you have the different quality of pelt and carcass that you
Hmm.
get depending on like how you kill them. Um with the legendaries, and I didn't realize this at first, it was like one of the reasons I didn't hunt as many as I came across even as the game was going. And then I learned this as I went on was like, oh, the legendary beasts, if I hunt them, I don't need to get like a perfect shot. It's always going to give me like the quality that of like legendary, which I was worried about.
Sure.
Uh, uh, and I was happy to see that you didn't need to like kill it a certain way to get the legendary pelt. But is that true? Like, I actually don't know.
No, I think it is just the one quality because it is only you only get the one shot, so you don't want to feel like you effed up your 60-hour playthrough because you got one star on a legendary beaver pelt or something like that. So I
Yeah.
believe it is just the one quality, and I think that's a pretty reasonable quality of life decision. I don't think it's enough. It's about the experience of going on the legendary hunt, the unique like environment that you put yourself in, and the unique characteristics of the beast itself. It's not. I don't know if you necessarily need that added tension of like, oh, I cannot mess up this shot because otherwise, I'm gonna feel like my run is spoiled in some sense, knowing
Oh, I
I kind of chip
absolutely
myself
agree.
out of it. So yeah, I think it's appropriate. It's smart for them to do it like that. And I loved a lot of the legendary hunts. I don't know if I did all of them. I definitely did not do all of them, but like the legendary gator, the legendary bear, of course, elk,
Fuck,
like
fuck the cougar. Fuck the cougar.
Yeah, fuck all the cougars. They're fucking terrible.
Dude, the legendary cougar hunt gives me PTSD. You had to I think it was legitimately like 0.5 seconds to shoot that cougar, even with um why can't I think of what it's called right now? It's not bullet
Deadeye?
time. Deadeye. Even
Yeah.
with Deadeye, it's still like as soon as you hear it, you have to turn, otherwise you're just dead.
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, no, I loved a lot of those. The gear that you got from it, the costume and fashion choices you can make once you get some legendary clothing. Um, Not all of it is 10 out of 10, but you can get some really creative kind of appearances, which I guess can kind of lead into another huge kind of like vertical of the game is like customization.
Hmm.
So, Pearl, how do you feel about customization in the game and in the ways that you could express your own Arthur and kind of get him to dress him to, head to toe and whatever you felt was appropriate and get him looking how you wanted him to look?
Hmm. Well, I will say that I didn't make the best use of it. Kind of because I was very stuck in my ways with like the outfits I liked. Like I kind of found the outfits I liked and I stayed with them. I would even buy new things, but I just like had an aesthetic that kind of appealed to me that I stuck with.
Mm-hmm.
But also I should have like realized earlier on, but um and I think I actually sent you a Reddit post I saw about this, but there's a score in either the second or third act of the game that you get so much fucking money from that you're kind of just set for the rest of the game. Like money's kind of no problem to you after that point. But I didn't really know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very conservative with my spending. Um, so I probably could have decked out myself and bought a few more like awesome pieces, but I was just so scared. And it was only till like later in the game I like did eventually kind of it occurred to me that like, oh, I'm kind of like I'm ready to go. I'm set. So I started buying more things, but as I said, like I was kind of like locked into my favorite clothing at that point. Um, I, in the beginning of the game, was really fucking stupid, and I didn't realize. And it turns out, I think that this is kind of a common issue because I did look this up. I was like, how the fuck do I change my suspenders? Like, I have suspenders and boots I can buy. Where the fuck are they? Well, I wasn't scrolling down, which is
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. But like, oh, these are all my options for clothing. What? Where are the other things? I bought boots. Where are they? Oh, I scroll down. Um, so it took a little bit into the game for me to like really get into the customization aspect. I think the possibilities you have for customization of your Arthur is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are a few little glitches with it for sure, like if you put on the mask to cover your face, then your mask doesn't like automatically go away over your outfit. And if you wear the shirts unbuttoned, if you have the mask down over like on your neck, it buttons your shirts back up. Or like once in a while, in a cutscene, something would kind of go awry of like the outfit, and it would be kind of awry afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But those are just like little things. Uh, I really liked all the outfit choices. Um, yeah, I had a lot of outfits by the end, but I really cycled through the same 3 or 4 things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see here. Mm-mm-mm. How about let's talk about the honor system and how you played the game, how you played your Arthur, how you kind of handled dynamic events, and when it came to kind of story forks, what decisions you were making and things like that. So, when you're existing as your Arthur, what was your like mentality? What medium were you combing your decisions through to help you make a choice? Like, what was that thought process like?
What medium was I combing my decisions through?
Like,
Can you explain that a little more?
like, are you playing the game as like, if I was Arthur, this is what I would do, or are you playing it as I'm just trying to be the goodest boy I can possibly be? Like, at any point, whether you're interacting with an NPC randomly in the world or in a story beat, how are you making your decisions?
Yeah. So I think at the beginning of the game, I was just kind of like trying things out, but um, I know a flaw that I think I personally have is that in a game like this, like when I have the option to make a decision that's like pretty, black and white, good or bad, I like feel bad in my soul making the bad guy decisions. It like physically makes me sick kind of to make them. So I did mostly pick like what would be the objectively honorable options. Um, and I would get upset like when I messed something up like in the world that was then made me dishonorable. Like there was one time in Valentine, I was like walking through, and I think like the screen was kind of dark, and I was on my horsey, and I'm walking through, and then a dog like steps right in front of me, and I try and stop, and I like walk the horse into the dog, and then I killed the dog. Um, and of course, then I got charged with like animal abuse, and had a negative to my honor, and I was really upset about that because I mean, obviously, if you kill a dog, people are gonna look at you badly. But I didn't mean to kill the dog. And there was a guy that like he had participated in like harming Native Americans, and then he kind of like died in front of me, like he's like a random encounter, and so I looted him because I was like, he's dead, and I got negative honor for looting him, and I was like, that's stupid.
It doesn't count.
And it doesn't count, he's dead. And so I quickly learned that like if I loot a dead body but they're not necessarily like an enemy guy, it's a bad thing. Or like I would accidentally shoot a horse that someone's riding on that's like attacking me, and then like you kill the horse, and that's like a negative as well. Which is like, I think that that's really good. Like I like that it like forces you to try and like aim correctly and like consider who you rob and like all that stuff. Like I actually do really like how that works. It just like in the moment would like make me go, ugh, but for the most part, I tried to be as honorable as possible, and that's largely like just because of how I like to play games, but also because like Arthur, even from the beginning of the game, seemed like a genuinely good guy to me, which is like obviously he's a outlaw and a criminal and a murderer and a thief, but like, and this gets more into like the like bread and butter of the game, right? Of like the themes and the characters and stuff. But like, is Arthur a bad guy, or is Arthur a bad guy? You know what I mean? Like, is he in his spirit bad, or is he bad because that's what he does? And my determination of that was he's bad because that's how he was raised, that's what he knows. And but from the beginning of the game, like the gang, like they save Sadie when they go to her house and they fight the O'Driscolls. Now we can like say, we can like question like if like that like they actually did that for like good reasons and stuff. Like I think you could like towards the end kind of like wonder about that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the beginning, that kind of stuff, it always seems like the gang, like does genuinely care about people. So it felt wrong even from the beginning to be like outwardly evil, and that is something I'm really interested in, like if I did try and replay it and like take the opposite route, because I don't know if you're like, I don't even know what like the verbiage is for the other way, like I'm positive honor and negative honor, or is it honorable and not honorable? Like I don't actually know like what they would call the other end of the scale. I'm aware it's a wolf instead of deer, but that's really all I know. And I'm curious how that like changes your perspective on the game, because like for me, and I know there's like optionable honorable and optionable non-honorable quest lines, and so I like really genuinely have no idea what the other optional quest lines could be, because I played it in the way that like made sense as I was playing it, but I know that like if I played it the opposite way, there literally would have been different story beats, and maybe I would have felt like that was the only outcome as well.
Yeah.
So I think that that's super interesting, and I know there's not like a bajillion different branching paths and all of that. I think I saw there's 4 endings or something like that. And yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I played the game the way it's supposed to be played, but I have no idea what the way it's supposed to be played is. But I know that, like, playing it the way I did, there's a lot of things I didn't do because of that. Like, I know there's, like, some optional quests to, like, go rob a homestead and go rob some, like, caravans. And I didn't really want to do those because I felt like I was like, well, I don't know if these people deserve to be robbed without like talking to like Javier or Charles or whoever was like offering those optional quests. And I wanted to like know that before I did them. That's different than the like Strauss quests because those aren't really optional to you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to do them, but you have to do them, and then you get the like journal entries and stuff from Arthur after he does them about how just like terrible they make him feel. And I'm curious if that like changes, those journal entries change if you play the opposite direction. Because from the beginning I played those like pretty like sympathetically, or tried to be. You don't get as much like opportunity to like be gracious at the beginning. Um, but from the beginning, Arthur's like monologues afterwards were like how sick they make him feel. His journal entries are like, I feel like awful when I do this. I thought we didn't do this kind of stuff. So I'd be curious to know if those do change if you are on the opposite end of like the honor spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the honor system will give you the wolf and will change definitely certain outcomes of how people not only look at you, but like you said, certain choices can kind of happen. In terms of like how they impact the journal, I'm not sure if the journal plays out differently in terms of maybe his internal monologue changes. I don't know, Ryan, if you recall any additional detail about how your different honor mode will reflect on how the Arthur thinks in the game, but I know that the honor mode inevitably pays off in like how the ending fundamentally plays out. But I don't know if we want to get into that.
So there are certain dialogues in the game that will change based off of Arthur's honor. If you have low honor, he's much more. I think the word's probably ornery in how he acts. You know, he's much shorter fuse in things. I know there's several cutscenes where it's like he will like, where instead of sitting there and be like, all right, calm down now, you know, like what's the problem? Like he'll kind of like get in somebody's face and be like, what's going on? You know, I know there are a couple of small dialogue changes that'll happen. I can't think of anything else though off the top of my head that it changes, but even like the dialogue changes themselves don't matter because it's just like a small change in the cutscene, but otherwise everything else is the exact same. It doesn't change how anything ends.
Yeah.
It's a lot of flavor. But no, it will change. I think a low enough honor will change how that encounter goes with Micah at the end.
Yes, the ending's the big thing.
The ending is
like,
the big thing.
That's the only true part where your honor like actually matters because you could have low honor all the way through, then spend 3 hours tipping your hat and saying hello to people, get your honor all the way back up to the top, and then you end and everybody's talking about how Arthur's such a good guy.
Yeah. I think that is funny that you can like kind of game it like that, but I think it's like ultimately like pretty awesome that they make it so like so easy to do that.
It used to be pretty bad. It was so little fun thing for you, Pearl, about Red Dead Redemption 1 is that so you have your bandana in Red Dead Redemption 2, right?
Yeah.
Your bandana in Red Dead Redemption 1 just set your honor at whatever level it was at. So if you were at high honor, or no, there's your reputation. If you could get up to a high reputation, so you got a whole bunch of like bonuses and stuff like that for it, and then you could put on the bandana, and it wouldn't change the stat. So what people would do is they'd just rack it up super high right off the bat, and then just do a whole bunch of bad shit with the bandana on, and it didn't matter.
I was wondering about that early in the game because I was trying to figure out if wearing the bandana made me just absolutely immune to the law. Like, what was like uh, the limit of what the bandana allowed, and obviously like there's some like plot related stuff where it's like, all right, bitch, you can't like get away from the plot with the bandana. But um, I was very much like, but what can I get away with the bandana? Which is about like the peak of me experimenting with like being dishonorable was that.
Yeah, I think, and I'm glad that we kind of brought up honor mode kind of after briefly touching on kind of the economy of the game, which is one of the game's kind of greatest weaknesses. Is kind of like veiled by the circumstances of which 98% of people will be playing their first gameplay or first run through of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is how much you can gamify certain systems and elements. Like the economy of this game, once you figure out the economy of the game, is you can kind of like shatter it and be very okay early on. It's just that the circumstances of the game and the story kind of create this veil of oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. Like, I still have to donate to camp. I gotta upgrade my guns. Maybe I gotta buy some more guns, and then save some stuff over for like buying an outfit or two or whatever the case may be. And then same thing with the honor mode thing, where it's like I know that I have this bar that's going up and down. I don't know exactly what's bringing it up and down, and I don't necessarily know what the outcome of it going up and down is. But it is a these are good things that like shape our behaviors when we play the game for the first time. But like ultimately, when you like read up on them or go onto a wiki and be like, how does honor work, or how does the economy of the game work, or how easy is it to get rich in Red Dead Redemption 2? Like once you've kind of pull the mask off, so to speak, or pull the bandana off in this discussion, you can kind of realize real quickly that money is quickly inconsequential. It's maybe through the first two and a half chapters where you really have to be conscious of it, and then you're flying high, you're chilling, and then honor mode, like it, the how much you can interact with the world by way of honor or having like low honor is very captivating and exciting, and it like makes you like give certain pause to certain events that happen to you. But then once you realize like you're only really changing how the ending plays out, and even then if you want to change your ending, you can quickly kind of farm the opposing honor that you want against all the decisions you made up through the game. So like there are very gamey elements to the game, but you can't really knock the game for it, just in the way that like the truest experience is that first playthrough, and you won't know in your first playthrough if you're not looking it up. So it is something like if they're future stating of like if there would be a Red Dead 3 or a Red Dead whatever down the road, I would like to see a more, I guess, frugal economy or a more fragile economy, and not like to the point where it's like a sim, because I like the game sim elements, but I don't want it to be like Kingdom Come Deliverance level where it's like every day you have to be thinking about how you're going to get your next nickel, and then having a little bit more impactful honor as well, because the honor, I think Mass Effect probably does a little bit better of like making your decisions feel a little bit more impactful in certain dialogue elements. And granted, I know that the ending of Mass Effect is dubious too in terms of like how your shepherd can kind of shape the world, but nonetheless, when you were in actual dialogue and actually showing your personality and how you want to express your protagonist, I thought it was a little bit more meaningful a lot more of the time with Paragon and the Renegade system as opposed to like the honor mode.
Yeah, and I like just like for Paragon and Renegade system, like I thought it was really interesting, like the times that your like responses like really changed that. I know like there was I am like was like super Paragon, but that like when it came to like discussing with the what the fuck's his name? His name is escaping me. The guy, the big bad guy. What's his name? The fucking
Big bad guy? And which one?
in the second one, the guy.
The collector?
He owns the collector.
Or the elusive man?
Elusive Man, that's it, who I'm thinking of. The Elusive Man, like, by the end of that game, I was just like, fuck this dude. And so, like, I was just absolutely brutal with him. And that was, like, one of the few times I, like, picked the Renegade option because I was like, I'm not gonna deal with his shit. I'm not gonna, like, be a paragon to this guy. He doesn't deserve it. And I really liked that, like, I could, like, do that and like have moments where like I actually wanted to pick renegade options. In this game, I will say it was like almost every time like there wasn't even really a choice. It was like, oh, like I'm picking the good option because like why would I pick the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and that does make me wonder like I guess you're if I think most people like you said that play the game like probably never picked any of those options their first playthrough, and I wish they were like slightly more ambiguous. I guess was like just exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Um, let me see here. So we do have a feathered brother in the call now. I don't know how
Oh,
long
did
this
he?
feathered brother has been in the call, but he's here. Allegedly.
Mm.
I don't think so.
Mm. Okay.
He's not here.
I see that Austin typed in the chat, hopping off because I'm tired. That was literally 31 minutes ago, so it tells you how much I'm looking at chat. But have a good night, Austin. Yeah, Ray, we've been kind of like beating around the bush because I'm like, let's see how much we can save for
We're
Ray.
waiting.
So we've been just talking about a lot of like the mechanical elements of the game. Customization, open world, we kind of hashed a lot of that stuff. We got Pearl's thoughts on hunting and fishing, the opening of the game kind of as well. So
You'll have to go back for the hunting and fishing portion. I said some pretty interesting stuff.
yeah, she said some
I guess you should have
interesting stuff.
recorded it.
Yeah, probably. But thank you for joining. And now that we got the nucleus of, now we can yap about actual story beats. So,
Finally.
Pearl, let's talk about that deer and what that deer meant.
Okay. So,
Get straight
I was
to
texting
it.
Patrick about this a lot. I was like, what is the symbolism of the deer? I remember the first time I was like, what the fuck is this deer? Why did I get a cutscene of a deer? And then like it became much more clear to me that like, oh, I'm like getting a cutscene of a deer, and oh, the deer means something. Oh, this isn't just a deer. This is a symbolic deer. And so in my mind, because I was trying to be a really good girl and I was trying not to look up
Okay.
anything. I was like, what the fuck is deer symbolism? So I think I said something along the lines of Patrick of like, I'm trying to figure out what the symbolism of the deer means. Does it have something to do with like, like freedom? Like was one of my first thoughts was like, you know, like a deer runs like majestically and free through the woods only to then like be seen through the scope of like a hunter's gun and killed. So I was thinking like, does it have something to do with like Arthur being in the crosshairs of some of like all these different groups and plans going on? Is it because like deer are just like beautiful, majestic creatures and Arthur's beautiful? Like I was, you know, like I don't think that that's what it's going for, but Arthur's beautiful. And I had a lot of like thoughts on what the deer symbolism could be. I'm curious, like, if everyone else while playing the game, like, understood the symbolism. And the symbolism is actually specifically a buck, I believe, not a deer. But, like, at first I wasn't understanding that it was even a buck. I was just like, that's a deer. Deer. And eventually, like, it became more like I understood it more as I went on. But, like, did everyone else get it right the fuck away? Like, where the first time you had the deer, like, cutscene, did you, like, know that that was, like, an important thing?
Initially I didn't think it. So immediate first cutscene, no. Second time the deer showed up, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, cause like at first it's just like a deer that shows up, right? You know, and it's kind of like a whatever thing. And then the second time the deer showed up, I was kind of like, okay, this is interesting. Because it's at very, important moments that,
Yeah.
the deer will show up. And have you looked up the other side of that coin yet at all, Pearl?
I
Ask
know
that
it's a
question.
wolf, but I
Okay.
don't know like specifically the wolf like symbolism, how it like is the other side of the coin of the deer. Um like I've looked up a little bit of like the deer like symbolism just to like get the exact like what I think, not
Yeah.
exact, but like to like so that I would have like a more clear understanding of like what a buck symbolizes like in mythology and everything, like because I came to my own conclusion of what I thought it meant eventually, but like um I wanted to see like what deer mythology actually said.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll say for my playthrough, or unless Ryan, were you gonna say something? Sorry, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, and I just wanted to see if Pearl knew that it was like, there was another side to the deer. For if you are doing the low on your playthrough, that they're not just like
A
randomly
parallel.
big. Like,
Yeah.
this deer is just here.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's an interest. I think it gives a nice moment of introspection for the player at specific points throughout the story. Like, it gives you a specific set of time after something major happens at each point in time to sit there and have a retrospective
Yeah.
on the events that have just unfolded. It gives you a pause in the action.
The early when I played it, and I don't remember all the deer appearances. I know a lot of the deer appearances come after chapters ending, and I know chapters ending are pretty climactic pieces of story beats, so they probably go hand in hand in a lot of their appearances. So I think I'm probably in the same boat as Ryan, where first time I'm like, this is just Rockstar swinging their dick, being like, yeah, we have cool intermission kind of imagery that we're just gonna throw in your face, and you're gonna be like, I love this, look at this cool looking buck. And then the game will keep going and it'll keep repeating, and I'm like, okay, so this is a motif and there's intent behind it. I think where it really turns into less as like a symbol, but I think like the best word I could think of as like an omen is the whole tuberculosis diagnosis sequence.
Yep.
And
I
as
was gonna
soon
say
as
the
you
same
step
thing.
out, it's not a cutscene. It's this is your reality. And I forget if I don't know if I guess it does happen in Saint Denis for everyone. I keep forgetting if it happens for everyone, but in the same spot.
does.
But I remember that passing out sequence on the street or whatever the case may be, and then seeing that deer
Oh my
run
God.
by in person, and you're like, okay, so
It was like an angel of death situation. I was like, oh shit, that's a death flag.
It is a
I am
harbinger.
dying. Yeah.
yep,
It's a death
Like,
omen.
yep.
oh,
And it's
such a good
full meaning. I don't think I grasped
God.
it. I'm like, maybe this is indicative of like Arthur. Like Arthur is the buck, and it's going through something right now. I don't know, but yeah, nothing can prepare you for the final sight of the deer and all that type of stuff. But I don't want to like blow our load too early. But Ray, if you want to speak on the deer or the buck and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I feel like most people are probably going to play in a high honor route, at least, realistically, probably, because I think generally people are going to want, to help out their friends and such like that. And you don't really get the idea that the deer is a harbinger or, a death omen until far later on, but it would probably come across a lot easier when you see that. I can't remember if it is a wolf or if it is like a coyote, because it seems very scavengerish and kind of scoundrelly. And it gives you the implication that, it even could be predating Arthur and coming for Arthur as he gets weaker and weaker throughout his journey. But I guess not all death omens really are bad, because death is coming for you in the end anyways. So if your deer is coming for you, you're probably better off than the other way around. But yeah, I never really had much analysis on it at first. And then once it started happening, I didn't really look into it or really think too much about it. It just kind of became an acceptance thing because, like, oh, he's got enough problems as it is. Metaphorical ones becoming real is not something I need to worry about right now while Mike is still out there in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Hate that bitch.
Yeah.
No, I was like, the deer. I was super fascinated by the deer as symbolism. Like, I mean, like, I'm not like a hunter by any means, but like my family like does a lot of hunting, and like, you know, I like have lots of deer in my backyard and like all this shit, and like, deer just like aren't used as like a symbolic creature, like oh, like they are, but like I've not seen them as like a character's symbolic creature like that. And so I was super fascinated by it right away, and just like I had all these theories in my head about what it could mean. But yeah, it wasn't really till the tuberculosis reveal that I like fully kind of like knew that, had more of an understanding of what it meant, I guess.
Kicking
But
the
like
lung.
a kick in the lung. Yeah, I think that like it literally took the breath out of my body, that scene where he like has the tuberculosis episode in Saint Denis. Um, and this was so crazy because before that, actually, so Hosea had been coughing a lot. And I literally thought multiple times throughout the game, I was like, no way Hosea has tuberculosis, lol. Like, I literally, like, multiple times in that explicit thought. I was like, when are they going to bring up that Hosea has tuberculosis? Like, when are they going to bring it up? Why has no one talked about this yet? Like, he's coughing.
I'll tell you what, he definitely had something. He was coughing a whole lot. It might have been age, maybe.
Could have been, but like, tuberculosis super fucking common in that time. It's actually the thing about the game that's the most unrealistic is that no one else in the camp got tuberculosis. Like, genuinely, that was bothering me just a little bit. And I know that like Arthur sleeps away from most of them, and he's like out of the camp most of the time, and I was like, but I was still like, there's no fucking way that no one else catches tuberculosis with like their poor hygiene. But like, that's such a small little like bullshit, especially if Arthur gets it from the guy coughing on him one time. Like, there's just simply no way. But yeah, I in my mind, Hosea definitely also had it, and it's almost more likely that Arthur would have gotten it from Hosea. And yeah, I just couldn't believe that. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, there are like a few moments in the game prior to that like full coughing breakdown in Saint Denis where Arthur like has moments where he like kind of like blacks out just for a second, or like your like screen goes red and he coughs to like push you with like subconsciously into you're getting sick. And I don't know if I'm like fucking making that up or if there was some other stat that like was running out or something, but there were like multiple times where like I coughed or something and like I couldn't do anything for a second that I don't really have an explanation for. That all happened before the Saint Denis scene.
There are moments of coughing. I don't know for sure if like there's flashes of red or not, but there are subtle hints throughout the game.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite story tidbits of my experience of playing Red Dead 2 is the moments leading up to the diagnosis, which was a very hefty mission prior, because I think that's the mission where the robbery of the bank occurs and it does not go as planned, and you have to go through that whole sequence before you get to the diagnosis. And I remember that mission and being like, and then you get back to the normal map, things go back to kind of the normal. But for me, I remember distinctly role-playing that like, no, things aren't normal for Arthur, things are very much not on the P's and Q's and on the up and up. So then I disappeared. I went up north to go camping or hunting or whatever the case may be, and I got a visit from like Charles in the middle of nowhere of like, hey
Whoa.
man, how you doing? And Arthur's like, I just needed to go somewhere and clear my head. And he's like, yeah, man, I totally understand. What happened back there was totally fucked up. Well, I'm here for you if you need anything. And I'm like, oh, that's super sweet. That's super nice. And I remember looking at my Arthur visually and being like, yeah, my Arthur low-key looks like shit. Like, he looks like he's just been through something. And so I'm like, I'm actually going to go to Saint Denis, and before I start the new quest, I'm going to treat him right. And so I remember distinctly, I gave him a bath. I paid good money for that bath.
No.
I got him a haircut. I shaved his face. I did all the things that I could. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just keep progressing through the story, and he'll be back to normal.
You fucked.
That's right,
Amazing
when I
how
visit the
incredibly-
doctor, and he's like, you got tuberculosis, son. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm supposed to look like shit? And
Amazing how red and pale you can look at the same time, dude.
yeah,
That's
it
weird.
was very depressing and disheartening. Because of the money wasted, not because of the implications of the TV. But no, that was. I just liked how, when you really look at it, the game told on itself on a multitude of different occasions, and it's just kind of like, if you're savvy enough, you can kind of pick up on some of those elements. I think the biggest one that you don't have to be super savvy on is the Micah being a piece of shit and betraying you guys and all that type of stuff. But a character that I don't think we spoke about a lot, that is kind of like early on in the game, that are still treats and enjoyable to have around. Pearl, did you have any thoughts on our boy Kieran?
Oh, the baby boy.
That O'Driscoll.
I was so excited to like see that kid like become a true member of the gang, or like have some kind of like something happen to him that like would
Oh yeah.
make
Oh yeah,
That
something
would, like,
happened.
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
genuinely like expecting somehow like, like at that point I still didn't like. I remember like one time I texted Patrick about like, what does it mean by redemption? Like the game's it's called redemption, like, but what does that mean? Like, what character are we redeeming, or what are we redeeming? Like I was waxing poetic on the title.
Yeah.
And in the character of Kieran, I was like, well, maybe like he gets redeemed from being a Driscoll by becoming like a full member of the gang. Like I was very naive and like hoping for the best for my boy.
I'm gonna say he did. I'm gonna say he did.
I would say he's a true member of the gang for sure.
He is.
Yeah. So that floored me, but I wouldn't say it floored me, because when he didn't come back after there was like a party and they were like, Kieran disappeared, I was like, oh fuck. He's like, the O'Driscolls. I thought the O'Driscolls had definitely found him, and I thought they were probably torturing him or some shit, which I'm sure they did. But I didn't expect that shit.
Yeah.
That was what floored me. Like I didn't expect that heinous display. I expected that the Driscolls had gotten to him, but not that.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's a lot of the game is kind of like, cuz a lot of people are kind of in similar boats. Even though that Red Dead Redemption 1 was a very popular game. Of course, like a sequel on PS4 after a game like GTA 5, the game's going to naturally be bigger than I think the first one. So a lot of people, like, when they see cowboy on cover, they think horsey good, and maybe you get a lasso, and maybe you go shoot bang bang a couple of bandits. And I think that's a lot of people's experience with Red Dead 2, yours especially, Pearl, like being a token example of this. So I guess I have to ask, like, at what point, Pearl, in the story, and maybe I watched the moment happen for you in real time, but what was the story moment or beat where you're like, oh, the ship is designed to go down?
I mean, it was pretty early. It wasn't like super early, but it was pretty early. I mean, like, I think it's even before, like, I think the moment that you might be thinking, I don't know if that's true.
Because I think Sean
That-
is the first big character death, and that is Rhodes.
Yeah, I was thinking it's a little before that I, because that's the moment I thought you were thinking of, but I think a little before that I was already starting to be like, uh-oh. Because I think actually the big thing was Miss O'Shea. Which I think is like such a small little detail, but the fact that her and Dutch are fighting, and every time like she like tries to come up to you or talk to you about it, like something like interrupts her, and they're fighting like so openly, and she's like weeping and like all this shit, and like I just was like, you don't put that in there if like you don't want to be sowing the seeds of Dutch is bad or Dutch isn't what he seems or whatever. But even before that, like at the very beginning of chapter 3, you go fishing with Hosea and Dutch, and you become like the sheriff of, or the deputized sheriff of Rhodes. And Arthur talks about like not Arthur. Dutch talks about like taking advantage of like the country bumpkins and roads, and it was like different than he had acted in Valentine. Um, he was much more hands-on in a way that he hadn't been up to that point, but also just more like these guys are fucking idiots, which we hadn't really seen yet, and it felt like contradictory to me to his like kind of persona that had been built of like this like almost educated guy in a way. Like he reads philosophy, he reads like plays, like he does all this shit, and then he goes to this like new region and says these people are lesser because they're not educated. And like that immediately like rubs me the wrong way for a lot of reasons that are
Because
like,
you look down on Ryan for that same reason.
because I look down
That
on Ryan
track.
because he's from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But even just like in the world today, like there's a lot of like let's say like the North in the U.S. like looking down on the South, and there's a lot of people from up here that think the people in the South almost deserve to have like bad like representatives because they vote badly, instead of thinking, oh, they're disenfranchised. A lot of like Southern communities, like they don't deserve to have bad representatives. They've had bad representatives that keep them like stuck, that like want them to suffer. And Dutch, who's posturing as this like smart, like worldly, kind guy, then going into Rhodes and saying these people are shit and we're gonna like use them all, like was so off-putting to me from just the way he acts in camp, that I think that was when I was like, oh, Dutch isn't as like altruistic as, he's not a Robin Hood character, but I wasn't like sure what that meant up to that point. And even at that point I was still like, well, maybe like part of the game is about Dutch like seeing the bad things he's done. Or like when the ship was sinking, oh my god, the symbolism of the ship fucking sinking, we can talk about that. But like when the ship sinks, I was like, oh, if Arthur fucking dies, maybe the rest of the game is about Dutch, like in Dutch is the main character, and it's him like repenting for his sins of like not protecting Arthur in some way. Like I was like trying to like think of how Dutch could be redeemed still, because for some time I think my thought was, oh, maybe the redemption is about Dutch and it's not actually about Arthur, you know. And so I guess the like point of no return for Dutch though, like when I was like, oh no, like Dutch is for sure like not a good guy, like he doesn't get redeemed, like it's like over for Dutch. I'm not quite sure when that was, but I feel like I already knew by the time like we got, oh yeah, I definitely knew by the time we got back from Guarma because he killed that woman. I think I probably knew when John got captured in the bank robbery. For sure, if not before, but like that was I for sure knew then. God, it might have even been before. I don't know, like kind of by the time you're halfway through like the Saint Denis chapter, I feel like you kind of have to know at that point.
I would probably say the number one point when there was no going back, because there was no one to pull him back, is probably when Hosea got shot right in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Jose get shot on the rooftop? That was the rooftop run?
He gets shot
No,
like they're
was
still
Lenny.
in the
Oh,
bank.
Lenny. Yeah,
Lenny,
2 people die on that fucking mission. That's right.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Lenny
bad.
Lenny gutted me, bro. Like I was so unprepared for Lenny to die there. Like because Hosea had just gotten shot. Like I was like, oh my god. Like after Hosea got shot, well, even before that, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna start like one by one killing everyone in the gang, and to some extent they kind of do. But like killing Lenny in that same mission, like just was so. I just like did not see it coming.
Yeah. I do remember that bank robbery sequence, and you're trying to get away, and you're running, and Lenny gets shot on the roof, and you can't even really have a moment for him because you have to keep going. I remember that distinctly being like, we're kind of in the quote unquote end game of this game. Like, I feel like whatever this game ends, however it ends, the best we can even hope for is picking up the pieces. And I'm like, the way that like Arthur is still kind of clinging on to the teat of Dutch, I'm like, I don't know if this if there's a separation that can be done in time for before whatever this ending resolution is. And I don't know, I think they beautifully kind of pace out the aspirational feeling and sentiment you have as like a cowboy in the West for a good chunk of that Valentine sequence, and then when you get to the swamp after Valentine as well, in that like old kind of I'll say like southern kind of farmhouse spot. That's where like you could be optimistic about like, we're in a gang, like we're cowboys, it's cool, we have a family, it's awesome. And then obviously the whole Sean sequence is like, I remember that being big for me, of like, that's right, this is still a game at the end of the day, and these are just people as well. So this may not be the last time some people die, but I remember by the time we get to the whole bank sequence, I'm like, this whole operation's
like,
coming
oh,
down.
fuck.
This whole thing is coming down. And Arthur's just along for the ride. I don't think he can do much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
when Micah became the only counsel Dutch could keep at that point in time, it was kind of game over.
You knew it was over then. It was like, if you didn't know already when that happened, you're like, oh, it's done. It's like, it's
Because
pack it
other
up.
than Micah,
I mean,
was he going to go to Bill?
At that point, I mean, he's just so.
He's so far gone
Dutch
at
is,
that point.
yeah, Dutch is just not even himself,
he just needs someone to say yes.
But that's
Dutch
the
relies
question.
on a lot of people. He relies on people, and even though he probably wouldn't want to admit that, and then he started relying on Micah, and Micah told him everything he wanted.
But this is my question, and this is what I've wanted to ask everyone. I mean, amongst all of the things I've wanted to ask, but this is one of the major things I've wanted to ask was, and the game asks this, Arthur asks this, but I'm curious what you think. Like, was Dutch always like that? Did we see Dutch's true colors, or did Dutch like become the way he was at the end? Like, because people in the game, they ask, like John asks, Arthur asks, was Dutch actually always this guy, or was he truly like a good guy at one point, or like a good cowboy at one point, and he like went wrong as the game went on, or at the beginning of the game, like something in Blackwater was already off, like I think John says, and Arthur confirms like something was already wrong in Blackwater, but he got worse since then, or was he always wrong and this was them just like learning that?
I think when you start off the game, you see Dutch probably at his best when he's helping Sadie Adler. Right after her husband died, he's giving her a coat. he's warming her up, and he's trying to make sure that she feels good about her situation now and how she's gonna be treated well. I think Dutch very much so wanted to be a good guy. He wanted that very much so. But I think his natural distinction is that he's not, probably. Which I like. I like that about him. You know, he wants to fight his standard nature, which might be more devious, but I can't really blame him for being that way either, given, you know, how he grew up. But I think it's because Hosea taught him and Arthur how to be a more honorable person. And, you know, that idea stuck well with him as compared to, like, Micah, who is also a detestable person, but has zero interest in being a good person.
Mhm.
That's all. I'm not saying that's the right way. That's just what I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like a catch-22 because it's like, did Dutch only ever become Dutch because his world started falling apart, or did the world start falling apart because Dutch lost who Dutch was? And it's kind of like a little bit of a blend between the two, because at the beginning of the game with Blackwater, I mean, I don't think I go through all of chapter 1 and 2 without really a shadow of a doubt of like Dutch's integrity or who he is. And I don't know if I look too deeply into Dutch's spats, like maybe how you may have, Pearl, just because I figured an individual in a leader position with managing a group of adult individuals that are displaced will naturally invite a sort of conflict interpersonally. And that's his responsibility. He has to take care of that. And if people don't like it, he has to take that on the chin. That kind of comes with it too. I think when I really earnestly think once the people start dying is when Dutch fights harder and harder to try to preserve his reality and making poorer and poorer decisions in hopes of, you know, getting that reality. And this is where kind of like the meta game kind of meets the story of the game, because like we said, if Dutch really needed that money, he should have just listed a price and made that a mechanic in game, and then you could just run around the map and save the $10,000, whatever the case may be, and you unlock the happy ending. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Obviously, you cannot do that. No matter how much money you get, Dutch will always need more money.
Dutch! Dutch, I have $80,000, Dutch! Dutch!
Well, I mean, a big part of that is, you know, just the narcissism that Dutch has. You know, I mean, like that's a major, very important part of his character is, you know,
just have a little faith, Arthur.
Dutch, $80,000, Dutch. We could buy Warma 3 times.
I got all of us our own mortgage and it's paid off. So like there is that disillusionment a little bit, but I do like the idea that, you know, with him, it was never going to be enough. I don't know what the fuck's up with that tree. The 4 tree. The 4 tree!
Yeah,
but
my God.
I thought definitely there's the people he's losing, and then also there's the whole, and we didn't really talk about it much during the story upbeat, but like there's the whole element of, and Ray, you sent me a really good video about this, about the mole in the camp arc. That's the biggest like unspoken element of the story.
I knew it was Micah. I knew it was fucking him. I said it, and then the game. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, but this is why the game's good, right? This is why the game's good.
Actually,
because
before you like reveal anything, like there is one other relationship with Dutch that another character has that is very unique and also very telling. Oh, the other tree, gross. It's Dutch and Uncle. There's a scene between the two of them where Uncle's really pushing Dutch's buttons, and Dutch really just kind of says, "I'm really dreaming that I could kill you right about now." And then, you know, it's a very silent moment, and then Uncle starts laughing, and so does Dutch. And then, you know, they're really buddy-buddy, but it really makes you wonder for a moment where you're like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But Uncle pushes everybody's buttons too, so
And that's where it's like you can understand that, like, in a in hindsight, Dutch, of course you'd see that coming, but like that's the thing with how well they set up these individual character dynamics. It's really hard to rule out like, oh, Dutch is off his fucking rocker right now, because it's like, oh, I could see how this makes sense to him. And that's a good chunk of the game. And then you get to the part where you're in Rhodes and he's like, let's take advantage of this whole fucking town of fucking country bumpkins. Or, you get to Saint Denis and he's like, let's just rob the fucking bank. And you're like, man, how do you even remotely begin to fathom that that's a good plan? Like, how did we get here? Can we talk this out? But no, yes, there is the Micah Bell argument of him being the whole mole in the camp. So, Pearl, what was that like when you finally figured out that there's someone working for the Pinkertons?
I was so pissed because immediately when people started saying that shit, I'm like, oh, well, it's fucking Micah. Like, obviously it's him. He's a little fucking worm. Like, and then the game kept going of, like, throwing out different people it could be, and, like, they kill Miss O'Shea because she comes in and says it was her, and she's drunk off her ass, like, acting, like, as they say, like, hysterical. They kill her. They is not the right word there. Like, she is killed. Not everyone makes the decision to kill her. Arthur tries to stop it, in fact.
who shot her again? Miss Grimshaw?
Yeah, it was Miss
Yes.
Grimshaw. Which is fucking crazy because that was, like, a moment where the game, like, makes you reconsider, like, who you think is, like, good, and, like, makes you, like, hold your, like, friends closer, and you're like, wait, who actually in this camp can I trust? And, like, who actually has a head on their shoulder, who's thinking for themselves and not just, like, Dutch's, like, fucking minion. And that's a crazy moment. But, like, I genuinely was like, well, it has to be Micah. And then the game keeps going, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, yeah, I guess I could see it being John, because John needs to get out. And that would make sense if he's the protagonist of the next game. Like, it's about that, and he's hunting down everyone. And at this point, I didn't know for sure Arthur dies at the end. And I was like, okay, yeah, because if the next game is John, like, hunting down people from the gang, like, that makes sense that he's the one telling the Pinkertons, and then the next game just starts with them hunting them down. Okay. And, like, I was led to believe that. And then I was like, oh, okay, if it's Miss O'Shea, like, I guess that works. And then, of course, it's fucking Micah. Like, of course it was. Fucking stupid game made me doubt myself. Fuck! That was just because it's good. Like, it's just stupid that I was right, and it made me reconsider. Ugh, evil, but so good.
It was Uncle.
So good. It was
It's
Uncle.
actually Uncle. Yeah.
It's actually Uncle.
It was Bill.
That would. It was Bill. Fuck.
Fucking Bill.
No, unfortunately, Bill is not that clever remotely, but we love him regardless. We love him regardless.
Do we? Do we love Bill?
Maybe a little, a tiny
He's
bit.
okay.
He's
You're
charming.
just a hater. You're just a hater. All right, Micah.
Do
And
we
Micah's
love
not
Bill?
even really that bad. He just was in the bad place at the
Fuck
wrong
me.
time.
You know, it's funny.
Sure.
There are a few
Hell
people
yeah.
you could do, but there's also a few people that I would never believe. So if someone accused Charles, like if Pearl told me Charles was doing it, I would shoot Pearl. I would just shoot Pearl right there.
There may be an
no.
imposter,
Charles is so
but I know
good.
this is not the imposter. I know this is not the imposter. No. Actually, Ray, I think
I wouldn't believe Hosea.
I would like you to kind of bring up the whole conspiracy of a potential
Want me to?
additional
Okay.
traitor,
Ooh.
because I think you can frame it
Okay.
best, and I haven't watched that video in a long
Okay.
time as well.
I did
Wait, yes,
catch
I'm
it here and
hyped
there,
for it.
and I do love the idea. But Pearl, there is a member of the gang who is actually Dutch's only exception to the rule of essentially being part of the family at a near constant rate. Do you remember a character that might be slightly distant?
From Dutch or from everyone?
Everyone.
Remember? I mean, Trelawney. Trelawney, Strauss, and the Reverend, I would like say all kind of fit that description.
You are right on the money with the first name. Josiah
Okay, I was
Trelawney.
Trelawney, yeah.
So, There is a video out there, and I'll send it to you after this, but it does make a number of conclusions and brings up a number of facts about how things started going wrong around Blackwater, the Blackwater heist, which obviously happened before the game's events. Dutch ended up shooting a girl dead, innocent. Arthur wasn't there to see or witness any of it, so he couldn't report upon it. But they were suddenly surrounded by Pinkertons and other forms of the law. I can't remember if this was like a waterfront casino deal that was going on, the whole heist or not. But I know it had something to do with a casino, I think. I can't remember for sure, but the theory goes in, and there's a number of spots here and there because this takes place before Micah was ever part of the gang, that Trelawney, who you help out more than once because Arthur needs to bail him out of trouble more than once, or at least once, is actually also a mole for the Pinkertons. Not excluding Micah, he absolutely is a mole, but Trelawney is also not confirmed, but the
Plausible.
situation makes it easily plausible. Like, there's no situation where he couldn't be the mole.
Yeah, they have a couple of other examples of how Trelawney gets involved. I think one of the most distinct parts is that I think during one of the Pinkerton visits, Trelawney is not there.
He's in town.
He just randomly left or something like that. Gosh, I forgot all the things that happened in that video that called it out, but it was it's one of those videos where you watch it and you're like, that motherfucker.
I think it was Fat Brett. I think he did it.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of my things I'm wondering, because obviously I haven't played the first game. Is Trelawney in the first game? Like, I don't know who all is and isn't of like the people that like live at the end. My assumption is that a lot of them are not in the game.
You could find that answer
Like,
if
I don't
you
know
played
who
the first game.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
that's
just- yeah.
That was going to be part of our conversation today. That I was going to bring up.
Well, I don't
But-
think we're there yet. We're not there yet.
Okay. All
But
right,
I
great.
do want to stay away from like alluding to the Red Dead 1 if we can help it.
Okay. Very good. Very good.
But nonetheless, no. The gang, freaking lit. How did you feel about going onto that remote island during the whole boat sequence of like we're getting out of Dodge, far out?
I was so fucking shocked. I was like, ain't no way that we're actually leaving and we're going to this other place that's not even represented on the world map. Like, that was the most shocking thing to me, was like, I can't even go back there. It was just like a completely isolated chapter of the game that like you can't like do a whole bunch of random extra bullshit, like you're just there.
Yeah.
Like, I was so like shocking. I don't even like know what else to say about it. I just like could not have expected it.
Yeah, they ship your ass out of town pretty promptly, and it's a really pleasant. No, it's an unpleasant hard right turn into like, oh, we've lost the plot so much so that I don't even know what game I'm going to return to once Arthur gets back to the mainland. With all the things that have happened and continue to happen.
Oh, that's one of the really interesting things about that when they get back, though, is like when they get back, like the gang kind of tells you about how like Sadie really stepped up and like helped out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Dutch is like almost upset about that. I'm like, what, did you want them to fucking die? Like, what did you want? And like,
I don't know why.
yeah, it's like she's not like necessarily trying to like take over the gang. She just helped them survive, and he like almost sees that like as a threat from her. And like maybe he should, like, he at that point Sadie would definitely be a better leader of the gang than him. But like I think the epilogue really shows that Sadie might not have ultimately been as good of a leader as like I thought maybe at that point in the game. And not even just the epilogue, like her like arc as well. Like she's really, she's gone through something incredibly traumatic and it's completely like changed who she is, and how she moves throughout the world
Hmm.
and all that. But like at that point in the game, I was like, girl, everyone should just like elect Sadie the new leader of the fucking gang. Because she kept you safe while he was gone, and now this bastard comes back and just makes everything worse.
Yeah. It's very interesting, like like the silent but firm clench that Dutch still has on the entire group. Like no one's really willing to step out of line that much, and if they do, they kind of quickly get back in line. Like I think Micah has moments of being a fuckhead, but then like maybe Arthur will get him in line, and then conversely, maybe Arthur will chirp and be like, maybe we shouldn't do this, and then Micah will chirp him back, and it's this constant like power struggle of like lackeys, but no one can really until the end like usurp kind of like Dutch's authority um, in any meaningful way throughout the game, which I find really interesting. And I don't know if that ties to just like the fact that Dutch is constantly flexing his education and all that type of stuff, but it is very interesting that shit could hit the fan as hard as it possibly could, but as soon as Dutch walks back in, he like instills a we will figure something out regardless kind of energy in the group, even if it is his
I
fault.
have a plan.
Yep. Yep.
Sir, I have a
It's
I
beautiful.
have a goddamn plan.
And the plan was to eventually have Arthur and the player listen to Willie Nelson. Pearl, what did you think about the music in the game?
Uh, you already know, baby. You already know I love the music. Oh my god, gorgeous, beautiful. Num num, eat it up. When Unshaken fucking played after getting off the boat from Guam. Oh my god. Like spiritual experience. I was not ready for such a fire fucking
Rendition.
track to hit. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, damn. There's a lot of really great music in the game. And the also just like the actual like instrumental soundtrack is really good as well. Like I have now like listened to the entire soundtrack since I finished the game. It's really great. It's not like a game that I would like think of for its soundtrack necessarily, despite like how good I think it is. And I think part of that is just like my fucking TV speaker sucks ass, you know. But also like, there's not like big, huge like symphonic like instrumental tracks that stop me in my tracks necessarily, but the like vocal music that they picked for the game is so great, and the music is so fitting and elevates the game experience so much. I just thought it was great all around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my two. I actually forgot about the Guam beat of having Unshaken playing. My two most memorable kind of like soundtrack moments was one, the Willie Nelson kind of the last ride, almost like on the way to one of the last missions playing throughout the forest. And then I
Yeah.
think I ran into a tree or I got off track and I fucked up the song. And I remember being pissed about that. And I'm like, this would be a Patrick ass maneuver. Like the game's just giving me a free moment to like bask in, and I'm like, what if I just fucked up the moment? Oh, what do you think about that? But that Willie Nelson track was chef's kiss, beautiful, and the Unshaken bit, the original D'Angelo bit, is also great. But yeah, the whole gazing off into the sunrise while it's playing, like yeah, it just like tears a soul asunder. It just like waterboards you in ether, and it's a beautiful freaking moment. So I do really like the music in the game, but it is different than like I guess how people talk about an Expedition 33 or even like a Near Automata, where it's like it's a great soundtrack, but I think it's great in the way of like it gives extra texture and an energy and an air to the current experience that you're playing, but it's a backdrop ultimately. Like even as you hear it
Yeah.
in this video, as we have it playing in the background, like you'll have these embellishes and these little moments, and they'll be great objectively, but it's like right now the focus is we're on a walk right now, and it's the activity that's occurring, and it's not necessarily the fact that music's playing. So I think this game really excels in kind of like informing the player's experience and what they're consuming in the moment to moment, but the music is not in your face bombastic in any sort of way, and I think that's beautiful for the type of experience that they're trying to create, and it worked out really wonderfully, and it got in your face when it knew it had to be in your face. Like you know, when they raid the O'Driscoll house, or is that even the O'Driscolls or something like that? And you get those big guitar strings, like the as they're pulling up, and they're like, "You bastard, get out here!"
Talking about the inbred trash.
Yep, yep. And so like
Yeah.
they'll have moments where they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna give you something to feast off of for a little bit." But no, I like how they kind of play around with the soundtrack and knowing when it's appropriate to be like, this is a Western set piece versus this is a simulation and you should just have a little couple of chimes in the background or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's an interesting conversation like beyond the game about like the use of music in video games and like just like music as a spectacle as opposed to music as a set piece, but like we don't need to like have that conversation today. But like, you know, I'm a big fan of like really just intense, awesome soundtracks for games, but that doesn't necessarily like games don't necessarily need that to have good soundtracks, and this one is one of those cases of it like I'm not going to probably listen to much of the soundtrack stand alone besides like the vocal the instrumental soundtrack stand alone, but it doesn't mean I don't think it was excellent. Like it was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I generally agree. I generally agree. Ray or Ryan, do you guys have any favorite tidbits or comments on the music slash soundtrack slash soundscape of the game?
I think I mean, mostly just the like in generalized, like, you know, they really did do a great job. And I think mentioning the soundscape is also an important part to that too, because like, yeah, like the soundscape itself, just in general, like all the noises from the guns to the animals to just being around makes everything feel so good.
The birds, they did such a great fucking job with the birds. Like, you know, so many bird calls. Like, I was just super impressed with their like animal soundscape. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think the last big story. No, there's two story tidbits that I actually want to get to. One is the frickin' final stretch. The final moments that you play as Arthur. The whole going through the cave with John, running up that ladder. The last encounter slash fight with Micah. The resolution between Micah and Dutch, and ultimately what is Arthur's ending in the game. Pearl, what was that experience like for you? What were your thoughts? Yeah, walk me through those fateful final moments.
Well, okay, so I was saying to Patrick, I was like, bro, I like fucking need to know like when I'm at the end of the game because I want to like kind of do some other things before I'm at the very end, but also I want to like play the whole end of the game at once if I can or whatever. And he was like, "All right, let me finally he was like, all right, let me figure out like what I think like kind of the point of no return is, and he was like, it's this quest, and I knew I was near the end, and I was playing, and he sent me the name of it, and I was like, oh great, I haven't gotten to that yet, so I'm playing, and all of a sudden I'm like, no, I'm at the fucking end, like this is the end, there's no way, and I look and I'd already just done like the day before the quest that he said that he thought like after that quest it's kind of the end, and so I was like, well, I guess I'm finishing it. Um, and so that was pretty funny. But I knew going into the end that there was like clearly at least 2 different endings. I didn't know how many. I just knew that if I had if I was more dishonorable, I probably got a different ending, and if I was more honorable, I probably got a different ending. Now I'm aware that there's 4 endings, which became clear like when you make the choice about helping John get out or going back for the money. Just like the lead up to the ending though is so good. I mean, like, I could talk a lot about like what I think the best of the side characters are. But Rains Falls and Eagle Flies are really awesome, and like how they kind of like reflect like the father-son relationship in like Dutch and Arthur in some ways, but kind of opposite of where they are at that point in the game, at least if you do the honor path. Like Arthur says in his journal, he says something about the lines of like, you know, in the past he would have thought Rains Falls was pathetic, but now he sees him as like wise and and wise and like honorable, and like that's an example of something that I thought might change if I was doing a dishonorable route. But maybe even dishonorable Arthur still thinks that. But you know what? When Eagle Flies dies, I was like, fuck me, like, dude, like now, like I don't know if Rains Falls appears in Red Dead 1, but I was just like, how does that like just affect this man that's been trying so hard for peace, and his son has now been killed, and like Arthur's trying so hard to like, you know, finish out his life with dignity, and this boy has now died once again, like under his watch in a sort of way, even though he was against what's happening. And then you get back to camp and fucking they rob the train, and John gets shot, and obviously at this point I'm aware that John is protagonist of the next game, so he didn't fucking die. I was like, did he get captured? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, can I go find him? No, he comes back to camp, and then he shoots and kills someone. Who does he shoot and kill? Does he shoot and kill Miss O'Shea? No, not Miss O'Shea. Miss Grimshaw? Who kills Miss Grimshaw? Is it Dutch?
Micah.
Or
Micah does
Yeah.
for no reason, and
Yeah.
Dutch does absolutely nothing about it. No consequence.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I was like, who kills her? But Micah, not Micah, John doesn't kill anyone when he comes back. He, like, points his gun at, like, Micah and Dutch. He shoots at Dutch, but doesn't, like, shoot to kill. But you're like, holy shit, John comes back, and then it's, like, super fucking clear that, like, this gang is not gonna, like, stick together. And then the Pinkertons come, and you're like, holy shit. And everything goes to shit, and you're just like, get the fuck out of here, you know. Sadie is off with Abigail and Jack, and everyone else has left camp. Everyone that's alive has left camp. And then you get John out of there, and then you get that moment where your horse dies. Bro. Like I used mostly the same horse for most of the game, and that was just, like, gut-wrenching, because, like, there's so many things about Arthur as a character that, like, I really like, and, like, you can extrapolate to be, like, even deeper than maybe the game means it. It's, in some ways, like, the way he cares for animals, to me, is something that, like, from the beginning, like, made him honorable to me. Like, he truly, truly cares about like just living things. And like there are multiple times at the beginning where you can talk to Mary Beth about like how you feel upset because you killed a horse. You know, in a fight, you know, like those guys are on horseback trying to kill you. You shoot at them and you shoot the horse in accident, and being upset about that. And Arthur characterizes that it as I'm killing animals for no reason or whatever. But like in the fiction of the game, it's because you know the guy was running at you on horseback. But he still's like heartbroken over that. He like every cutscene you have with the horse shows how much he cares about horses. Everything you have with an animal, he truly cares about them. And so, like, his horse dying there, you know, is so sad, but also it's like just another death flag. You're like, Arthur's not going to make it through this, was my thought when the horse died, right? It's like, in the mechanical reality of the game, I could have saved that horse. Because I have Horse Survivor. But the game doesn't let you. Because at that point, it's clear Arthur's going to die. And the horse is a symbol of that. And just like that broke my heart because like at that point I still like didn't know how the epilogue shook down, and I knew probably that I was able to like continue doing quests in the game after whatever happened here. I didn't actually even know there was an epilogue, so I knew that this was the end. And in that moment, it became clear to me that, like, no, there's no way Arthur, like, lives through this. Like, I already knew that, but, like, that was the nail in the coffin moment, you know? I was like, oh, I can't have him live through this. And maybe I still can. Maybe one of the endings he does live, but I don't believe that that is true. Anyway, he, like, pets his horse goodbye, and then he's like, what about the money? Which in the reality of the way I had been playing the game, felt goofy as hell. Because I was like, this Arthur, that is my Arthur, at this point, doesn't care. He knows he's fucking dying. He would help John get out. Like, he's aware that he's dying no matter what. The money doesn't matter. The only way in which the money matters is if he thinks he can get it for John and Abigail and Jack so that they'll be safe. And with the current just flood of people running around trying to kill each other, it's so dangerous to even go and get the money. Like, you're jeopardizing John escaping by even going and getting it. So no, I'm gonna save John. I'm gonna go with John, try and get him as far as I can. So I go with John. Still, like, hoping in my mind that, like, I get John all the way to safety and, like, maybe die, like, peacefully of tuberculosis. As peacefully as you can die of tuberculosis, which is not that peacefully.
How
But
do you know?
because I just recently read a book about tuberculosis.
Hey, Holiday lived 17 years with tuberculosis.
Oh
or
yeah?
something like that.
Well, did the author have tuberculosis? How do they know?
Yeah.
Because he studies tuberculosis.
Was the
no.
author Doc Holliday?
No, the author, I'm kidding. The author is John Green, but it's a great book. Everything is Tuberculosis. It's a great book. I read it last year.
Your
Very good.
tuberculosis.
Whoa.
Your tuberculosis.
Fuck.
Fuck you. But you get John up that little hill, and I'd like tried to climb that like rock face before, which was super funny. I was like, why can't I get to the top of this? And you get up there and you're fighting, and you're like, John, get the fuck out of here. And then Micah, that little bitch rat, shows up. Oh my god, just like, ugh, hate that guy. Just want to retch when I see his gross little rat face.
It's not that
Hey.
bad.
He's that bad. I will say it, he's that bad. He shows up and he starts beating the shit out of you. And it's like, honestly, in that moment, I was kind of like, oh, this is the end of Last of Us 2. Was my thought for a second. Which, you know, is funny because Last of Us 2 came out after Red Dead Redemption 2. But
You mean just like Fortnite?
just like Fortnite. I mean, yeah.
When are they
this
adding
is just
Micah
like-
to Fortnite?
Awesome. Awesome. Great idea.
Micah Fortnite when?
Micah Bell. Everyone's
Micah
favorite.
Bell. Micah Bell. Now jumping out of the battle bus. He you beat the shit out of him, but he mostly beats the shit out of you because you're not only dying of like gunshot wounds and fight wounds, you're also dying of tuberculosis. So it just like feels
Which I
fucking
heard isn't even
awful.
that bad, but yeah, continue.
It's not even
Yeah.
that bad. Everyone lives. Everyone who has tuberculosis doesn't live and doesn't die, doesn't suffer. Um,
Yeah, isn't that what
and
happened
then
with
Dutch
Magic
shows
Johnson?
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Man. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure, man. Yeah. Look at his
Honestly,
little
if
laugh.
everything's tuberculosis, nothing is. So there you go.
That could be true. Some are saying this. Anyway, and then fucking Dutch shows up, bro. Like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? So I was like, ain't no way Dutch dies here. So how does Micah die? And I was waiting for somehow Micah to die, like for me to shoot Micah, for
Bagel.
Micah to fall off a fucking cliff or something, and he doesn't. That fucking blowed ass. And then Dutch comes and doesn't kill Arthur. And like Arthur on the ground, fucking dying, says something like, "Everything I have done, I did like for you, Dutch. Like, can't you see that?" And gets through Dutch's thick, fucking egotistical, narcissistic skull for just a moment, and you see kind of like him like have like a moment of regret, come to Jesus moment, just a little bit, and he like drops the gun and just walks away, like he can't kill
Yeah.
Arthur.
What does Dutch do?
Um,
Fucking nothing again.
Fucking nothing again. He doesn't have a plan, clearly. Micah gets away because Dutch kind of like does Dutch shoot at him? I don't remember exactly what he like says to make Micah run away, and then Arthur
No.
like, yeah, Arthur like then like army crawls like dying to the edge of the cliff, and you overlook the sunset as he dies, and it was just like I felt like almost hollow because I like just like expected something else. Like I don't know what I expected, but like I mean, in a way, I was like happy that Arthur died because that just meant that like his like suffering could be over. But like not like that. Like you know what I mean? Like not like that. Like I think he was okay with what happened because he got John out of there. But he like deserved just something else, not to die bleeding out, coughing on the edge of the cliff. And that's just like it's just like a tragic ending. Like but it's a good ending still because he successfully got John and his family out of there. He successfully got Sadie out of there. He successfully got Charles out of there, and anyone else he told to leave got out of there. You know,
Yeah. The
it's
beat-
just like, yeah,
I was just gonna say, I think, and this is going into like extrapolation or reflection. I think a lot of the beauty of Arthur's final moment is like, he can finally be at rest or at peace because I don't know if, even though Arthur's a good guy, going back to like this, that bad guy discussion you had earlier, you brought up, Pearl, but it's like, based off of his actions and deeds, I don't think we know that his character, deserves a good ending. But Arthur the man with his actions, probably there is no
Doesn't.
Valhalla for him. And so
right.
the whole him getting saved is him finally waking up and realizing, oh, the man that I've been an accessory to and his right hand for this entire journey, I've been blinded to, and what's really out there, what's really going to keep us going is sticking together and just trying to protect what we have. And that's what John's trying to do in that moment, and him recognizing that and being like, I have to protect that, as opposed to this idea of like family that Dutch has kind of corrupted and tainted, because it doesn't exist anymore. But that is the folly of Arthur, is realizing that after everything has transpired.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it beautiful, is like, you're good, that's as good of an ending that you can even realistically get after what you've kind of what role you played in this whole operation. And so, yeah, it's beautiful. I remember being mixed on like, oh, I'm not killing Micah right now, but he's clearly the dickhole here. Like, he has to go. So why am I dying right now, and why am I crying to this beautiful fucking song? And why is the deer back? And like all those emotions are coming into you, and you're like, oh my goodness, like what a fucking journey. And the game has the fucking balls to be like, the credits aren't coming yet. There are no credits.
You gotta build a house, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing though that like made me upset. Like, I really wanted to like just like feel the moment of Arthur's death longer, and the epilogue then coming took me by surprise in a way that I didn't like. It took me a while to like that I was playing the epilogue, which is like a weird thing, but like that moment when he dies is like such a big moment. Like, I've just spent like 100 hours with this character, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm playing John. Fuck no, you know, like I wasn't. And I think like if I had played the first game first, you know, as a lot of people did, not everyone, but a lot of people, I think like maybe you'd be a little more excited to like be John at that point, but I still wanted to be Arthur. And it was like maybe the first time I can kind of understand why people didn't like Act 2 of The Last of Us 2. Because I was like, the fuck? Why am I playing Abby right now? Fuck that shit. Like, I never felt that way.
Imagine you played
Yeah, imagine playing Micah.
Oh my
insane. Like, I really liked switching to Abby for Last of Us 2, but I know a lot of people were not a fan. But like, this is the first time that like I've kind of like felt that way, where I'm like, I don't like this decision. Just because I wanted to like sit with Arthur's death longer. So I like don't think it was like a bad or anything. I just think like for me, I was like so taken aback by the fact that like the game wasn't over, that I like didn't know how to process that. And I almost wish I just like had like set down the controller and stopped playing for the day at that moment, because like I wanted to process Arthur and the last like bit of the like first like last bit of the like game a little more.
I'll say that there was no cool way of me teasing that an epilogue exists and how long it will take for you. The only runway I said was like, expect it to be a long journey to wrap up.
Oh, and that's why I was so confused. Like when Arthur was dying, I was like, the fuck did he mean? Like, this was only like 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm like, you got more time. But I do agree that the epilogue is a grower, not a shower, because you're so enveloped in the Arthur story that once that story meets its end, you're kind of like, what are we really doing here? And I do think you, unfortunately, which is kind of a challenge for like, I guess maybe some people to grapple with, but you kind of have to actually see the whole epilogue through to understand why the epilogue is placed there and exists. Because you're right, the first hour of like being John and walking around town, you're like, oh, it's cool that he has this thing with Abby and Jack and they're doing their own thing. But like, it takes a moment to like kind of realize everything in that epilogue is what Arthur was fighting for John to have.
Yeah, like that's Arthur's legacy.
And it's beautiful, like John just pulling up to the town, having a small town conversation with the clerk. They're just shopping. He hears the story about like, oh, there's some ruffians in town, which ends him up at like a ranch to do some farmhand work, saying like, yeah, I'm gonna get my 9-year-old to work for you. I mean, child labor laws have not been invented yet. He's a good working boy. It's gonna be good.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And the farmer's like, "You're too willing to work. Is this a trick?" And he's like, "Nope, it's not a trick." Kind of, sort of.
Very suspicious.
And
very suspicious.
Eventually, the epilogue kind of pulls John a little bit in with like how some of those smaller quests that he has to do. But yeah, then the building of the house and the you reunite with Lenny, right? Or no, Charles. To build the
God,
house.
if Lenny showed up on Dead Nightmare 2.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
You want to build a house? What?
What the fuck?
Where's your head?
Lenny!
So yeah, Pearl, what was that like getting deeper and deeper into the epilogue and realizing the epilogue is not relenting and you kind of have to acquiesce with what it's trying to tell you?
It was a struggle. Like I was like not happy. Well,
Yeah.
and it didn't help. It really didn't help that I had that problem where then I like my thing glitched. And it set me back like 2 hours in the epilogue because my like it wouldn't load from like one area to another, and it like was like loading, you know, like where like bullet the bullets load on the screen for when you're loading. It like had been loading for 5 minutes, and so I like exited out, and it didn't save, and it sent me back 2 hours, which blew ass. But like as it went on, you know, there were a lot of things that I really did like about the epilogue, and like story wise, I was never upset with the epilogue. It was more just like the like reality of being the fucking farmhand, and I'm always bad at like lassoing. Like I don't know why I never got the hang of lassoing. And you have to lasso that fucking bull, and it sucked my ass. Like I hated it. Um, and I could tell the whole time that the epilogue was happening that like this is a setup for, you know, the beginning or whatever happens in Red Dead 1, but also like this is Arthur's legacy. Like this is what he wanted for John and Abigail and Jack and for everyone. That's why you're playing this out. Like this is the end of Arthur's story. Um, and in the epilogue they do a lot of like saying nice things about Arthur and stuff. And that's another thing I'm curious, like does their language kind of change if you played a not honorable Arthur? I'm just curious. But as it went on, like there were a lot of things about like setting up like that area of the world and the farm that I did really like, and I really liked getting to spend more time with Charles and Sadie and like seeing like the conclusion of their characters and Uncle. And I was kind of hoping as it went on that we would see like all of the members of the gang that got away show up, and you know, when the actual credits roll, you see some of like where they got off to. Um, and I know that some of their characters return in Red Dead 1. I don't know who all. Genuinely, I don't know who all. I know Uncle's there. I know Dutch. I know Javier. I'm assuming Bill as well. Um,
We're not gonna
know
tell
about
you
a
shit,
third act?
bro. So just move
No,
on, all right?
fuck you.
All
This
right.
is me
After you do the John stuff, you wake up as Bill, you crawl out of the
Fuck
fucking
you.
hole you're
Fuck
in,
you.
and you're like, what the hell? What happened to the gang?
Fuck you, Ray. Fuck you. I can only hope Trelawney and fucking the Reverend and Pearson and all of them are in the next game, but I have no idea. Which is great. Like, if I play it, fuck yeah. Which I think I will. But, you know. Yeah, I part of me really wants to like go in and like explore that last area that I know is the Red Dead 1 area with John. But the other part of me would rather like replay it again as Arthur, because there's like just like a lot more things I'd like to pay attention to, but also just like go explore some of the like far reaches that I didn't like fully explore. But I liked the story the epilogue told. I'm happy Micah fucking died. I was happy that Dutch shot him. That was awesome. I was gonna be fucking pissed if Charles died. Oh, I was gonna be mad. Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna be mad. I love that guy. I was gonna be so mad.
Charles is a
But
treat.
like, Charles is a delight. And as you ran up that mountain, like fighting Micah's dudes, I was like, and there was a lot of things that I was just like letting myself be mad about for no reason, but I was just like, how does Mike have this many fucking goons? Are you fucking kidding me? He's not that good of a leader to have this many fucking guys around. I know
He's
Dutch was like kind
charismatic,
of whipped
girl.
him. No, he's not. Fuck you.
Earl,
He's a piece
in
of
the
shit.
words of JJK, weak spirits oftentimes grow a group together.
Fuck you. No, I refuse to believe you had that many goons. But
They're all
that
trash.
scene was dope, like running up the mountain and killing, and like then Dutch coming out of the fucking house and everyone having their little standoff and
Yeah.
Dutch then killing Micah and then like just walking away. And like prior to that like confrontation, like I think Charles like had the line about how like this like thing happened, Dutch might not be the same man he was, and like Dutch like doesn't say anything grand, he just like kind of does the deed, then like somberly like goes away. And that makes me really interested to see his characterization in the first game, because I don't know what it's like. I don't know if like the silly, like flamboyant, interesting Dutch is gonna like make a comeback, or if he's gonna be more solemn, or if he's kind of gone crazy, or like what his deal is gonna be, and that's super exciting.
And we're not gonna tell you.
Fuck you.
So what did you think about building the house specifically?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked the dumb little house building music.
I loved
Not
it too.
dumb.
It's dumb?
beautiful.
Great.
How dare
No,
you?
it's beautiful.
How do you live
It's
with yourself?
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't have joy or whimsy. That's how I live with. I
Oh.
don't live with myself. I thought the house building was a little tedious for sure.
You don't think building a
But-
house is tedious, bro? Come on.
It definitely is. Yeah. I mean, have you had a house fire and have to take 5 years for your house to be rebuilt? I have, and let me tell you, it's tedious as shit.
Considering how much shit I've moved around in that house, it felt like it was my house I got burnt down.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be tedious though. It's one of those things that's like I
You know,
like
it's tedious and honest day's work. Good luck, bro.
exactly.
Jeez.
I mean, it's tedious, but it's like wholesome also. So it's, I don't know. It's definitely like there are aspects of game mechanics and other games that I really like that are tedious, that I will like go to great lengths to say how like that enhances the experience because it's supposed to be tedious.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how I feel about this as well. Like it's supposed to be tedious,
Mhm.
but also I just wanted to continue the story at that point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Before we talk about Red Dead Redemption in a serious way, I think you need
Wait,
to
what?
tell Ray, you need to talk to Ray and Ryan about what your experience was like encountering the clan.
Oh
Yes.
God, yes.
Patrick and I have talked about this already, which is why he says to tell you guys this.
Which one of us did you think of the moment you saw it?
You.
Don't say the answer.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Aaron.
I was like, there's always people. No. So it was incredible. What an incredible moment. I was walking through the woods. I was up in the woods in West Elizabeth, like north of Strawberry, Big Valley area, kind of. And I'm like, no, not even over there. It was more like, it was like that area, but more like, kind of above the, like where the logging camp area is. And I'm going through the woods at night. I'm trying to get back to town. Like I have like low health, like all this shit. Like I'm like I need to sleep. I need to do all this. I want to get back to town. Blah blah blah. And then I see some fire off in the distance in the woods, and I'm like, ah, fuck! It's another gang being fucking idiots. I'm gonna I don't want to kill these guys right now because I kind of like need to get back to heal myself and buy some supplies, whatever. It's kind of earlier in the game, so I'm not like totally decked out. And I'm so I start like kind of slowly trotting through this area on my horse, and then I'm like, this is a really big group of people, and oh, there's actual dialogue. Let me just like stop and give it a listen. So I stop, and it takes me like, a millisecond to realize, oh, these are some buffoons. And then I see it. The fucking pointy, stupid hats. And I'm like, no fucking way. They got the fucking clan out here. And it's a big group of people. They have like a big wooden cross. And they're talking, just being absolute dipshits, like just the biggest fucking idiots you could ever imagine. Like, it's so beautiful how the game like takes many like serious aspects of history like very serious, but then like treats the clan like a bunch of circus clowns. It's just absolutely beautiful. Oh my god, they're like, these guys are the biggest buffoons to ever buffoon. And so I see them and I just like, every other fight in the game up to this point, like, I'm terrified of, because I'm not like very good at like being strong in video game combat. Like, obviously, like, we play Overwatch together. What do I play? Support, because I'm not really good at like going and diving into the middle of the fight. So even in like Red Dead, a lot of my fighting, I'm like sniping, you know. But these guys, I see these fucking guys and I'm like, let's fucking go! It's open season. I take out my Molotov and I fucking chuck it in there. I never use that shit. I'm like, this is gonna be a fun fucking time. I throw it and then I just go like charging in there, guns fucking blazing, just capping them. Like, I was just an absolute joyride, killing these stupid sons of bitches. It was just absolutely beautiful. Oh my god. And they died pathetic little hilarious clown deaths. Oh, it was gorgeous. And then I only saw any clan members one second time in the game, and that was like down near Rhodes, and they were like right outside of Rhodes, and it was just two guys, and like they had, I think, their little stupid cross again, and they were trying to set it up and they were confused, and the same thing, I just went in there and just beat their shit. It was just amazing. Oh my god, they're such idiots, and the game treated them exactly as they should be treated, like idiots. And yeah, but I was shocked to see them. I just like didn't even consider that they could be in the game. They're a real part of American history, and this game doesn't shy away from other real parts of American history. But yeah, they were there, and I got to kill them. That was fantastic. Oh my gosh, like, beautiful. That's exactly what I'd want to do with them.
Pearl, what would
Yeah?
you do if I told you that I believe there is, I think it's like 5 separate encounters that you can have with
Really?
them? Yes.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't sure. Like, I was like, if I found them twice, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in here more. But I didn't necessarily want to, like, go searching for them, because I didn't know where in the game they would be. I was like, they've been in 2 completely separate places. I would have to probably just keep running around at night to find them.
You could
So I was
generally find
surprised-
them if you go to the biomes that just like generally look most akin to Wisconsin. They have a statistically higher likelihood of spawning.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
See.
Ryan shouldn't be friends with us when you think about it.
I really shouldn't.
Ryan, why do you have to be upset that this was your first voice acting gig? What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god. Fucking Christ.
It remind me a lot of the Django Unchained clan, where it's literally just like, I can see fucking shit in this thing. They're fucking rags they wear on their head. Oh my god. Done.
But yeah, they're a great treat. They're a great gameplay moment. I remember playing it on PS4 and being like, I'm hitting the share button to record this. This is a big moment and I like it.
Never been so happy to see the clan.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sweet
First and
treat.
only time.
It's a sweet
God,
treat.
it was just an absolute delight to just treat them like the idiots they are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now we have to have the real conversation of when are you gonna play Red Dead 1?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I've been thinking about if that should be my next game. I mean, there's like a ton of games out there, obviously, that we all been know. I have a bazillion games in the game library of games that I need to play.
Mhm.
And also, I'm really busy with the world. I don't know if you know this, but my neighbors are getting taken by federal agents every day. So that's really great. So I'm spending a lot of time participating in the response to that, I could say. Um, which makes me not want to pick a long game to play next, because I just feel like I don't want to tie myself into that. But I actually have no idea how long Red Dead 1 is. And I haven't looked it up because I don't want to accidentally spoil myself. Because every time I've looked up anything about a game, even something as innocent as how long is this, then all of a sudden the algorithm is like, you want to know about how the game ends, and I'm like, the fuck, no. But apparently that's what that means to the algorithm. So I haven't looked up much of anything about Red Dead 1. I did look up are Charles and Sadie in Red Dead 1 because I felt like it felt pretty interesting that they were the only two that were at the end of that game, aside from Uncle, and they were the only two that left because other Uncle didn't leave, and so I'm like, I feel like they're not in the game, and I want to know that, and that's true, they're not. But I haven't looked up anything else because I'm a good girl, and I am unsure. I'm unsure. So, can you tell me, would you please tell me, how long on average you think Red Dead 1 is? Is it shorter than Red Dead 2?
I'll say that if you played Red Dead 2 pretty thoroughly and you like did a lot of side content, you got lost in the world and all that type of fun stuff, I'll say that Red Dead 1 would just feel like a very large piece of DLC compared to Red Dead 2.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
It is its own game. It'll take some time. It's probably like a 20 to 30 hour experience probably when it's all said and done. But because it was 2011, it's not like the same simulation that you're getting lost in. It's a really beautiful looking game, and there's definitely a lot of places where you can get lost in. But I'll say how it's delivering its story and how you exist within its world is a lot more, I'll say, streamlined than maybe Red Dead 2 can be at times. So it's a little bit more focused. But yeah,
That's not necessarily a bad thing by any means.
Exactly. It's actually, I think it might be the best in hindsight. Like, even though Red Dead 1 came out first and then you'd want to play Red Dead 2, I think like you're eating better if you play Red Dead 2 first and you treat Red Dead 1 as just big DLC to kind of just see how this story ends and not necessarily be super focused on like, oh, let's try all the side activities. Like, if you just want to burn through the story, you can definitely get to ripping and have a great old time.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering. I might do that. There's like, obviously there's a ton of games I want to play, but a lot of the games I want to play are very long. Like, I want to play Cyberpunk. I want to play Kingdom Come. I want to play this, that, and the other thing. And so that is good to hear because that incentivizes me a little bit to play that next, which would be nice because then I'm not like learning like a whole new world necessarily. Even though it is like a very different experience, as you've said.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's up to you with the bandwidth you have and what you're willing to give up. If you want a smaller bite-sized game, of course, that makes sense. But I think like just ripping the Band-Aid off, that Band-Aid of figuring out what happens at the end of the line, can only be a good thing. Then you get the totality of the story, and then you're like, oh, this is what they've been building to this whole time. And it also, then that way you can dive into anything spoiler related with Red Dead Redemption, and then you're good on those fronts. But that's up to you. And I'll let you ponder on that, unless Ray or Ryan, if you guys have anything you want to add on Pro playing Red Dead 1 that you'd like to add.
I think the big thing with Red Dead 1 is it's a little bit more of a straightforward storyline. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, realistically, if you want, you do not have to really focus on any side content. I mean, there is some important side content, and there is some characters that... I think there's one major character that shows up that was in Red Dead 2 that once you see, you'll be like, oh my god.
Is it the nun?
It's always the nun.
I love her. We didn't even talk
She's
about what I
great.
wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh. We didn't even talk about what I wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh.
What do you want to talk about?
What I want to talk about is um the side quests and how good they are. Like there's so many of the side like quests that are something I love. One of my favorite game things is when a side quest is like a little microcosm of the whole main story, and when it is like just perfectly illustrating a part of the major theme, but in a smaller, little microscopic way. Oh my god, just so gorgeous. But also just like so many of the side characters that are reoccurring in the side quests are just really awesome, and they're just great little bite-sized little fun stories, but also that you can like make them deeper than they are in a lot of ways too. But then you get into like those like really good side characters like the nun, and you're just like, oh, like I think the conversation between Arthur and the nun sister, the sister, I can't even think of what her name is, like
Is it
on the
Sister
train
Agatha?
station.
I don't remember.
I don't think so. I think
No.
it's Sister something else. Sister in Red Dead 2. Mother Superior, I don't even know how to say her name. Calrion? Sister Calrion? Um, Whatever. I think the scene between her and Arthur at the train station outside of the fucking place, what's it called? Something weird ass name that I always forget. Um, Emerald Ranch is my favorite scene in the game. Um, which is like a small little scene. Like it's a skippable scene. You might not even get it. Like it's not
Mhm.
even part of the main story. And I
Mhm.
think it's my favorite scene in the game. Like there are so many great scenes in the game that I consider my favorite scene, but I genuinely think like that scene encapsulates so much about what I love of the game, and like yeah, um, Arthur just like he like has this like smile in that scene where like almost because he's sickly also, like he has this puffy red eyes, it looks like he's like crying when he's smiling, and like it's just like just the visual nature of that scene is so beautiful, and like the talk of like choosing to believe in something and like who do you want to be, like they're just like such like great important like thematic questions for Arthur's character and the story as a whole, and just like shows how like how he could have been someone else, but even though he wasn't someone else, like just how in the end of his time he can still be the person that he wants to be. And I don't know, it's just such a beautiful scene. I don't know. But what are everyone else's like favorite like parts of the game? That's what I want to know.
I'll say real quickly, I don't even know if it's a side mission, it's probably a main mission, but when John's in jail and Arthur has to save John, and he has the whole bout of, well, let's save John by finding him in the prison, and we're gonna find him in the prison by getting into this fucking hot air balloon and not tell the hot air balloon operator what
Oh,
we really have intentions
Yeah.
of doing. And
with Arturo.
that hot air balloon sequence, it's like, I think
It's
what's
so
really
good.
beautiful about Red Dead 2, especially in this 2026 era where I will admit I'm a victim of self-subjugated brain rot. Okay. And so when I see things on the internet, I'm very like used to getting dopamine kicks in the brain and being like, "Ooh, everything's great on my 6-inch screen, yay!" But in all reality, it's very not good for brain and chemical balances. What I love about Red Dead 2 and how it's built its world, how it paces its world, and makes everything tedious and mundane is because it creates moments that seemingly are like, sure, I guess, or like not super significant on paper, be super special. Like if you tell Patrick, Instagram Reel algorithm, Patrick, like you're gonna love a fucking hot air balloon sequence and think it's one of the best parts of the fucking game. I'd be like, bro, why would I care so much about that, But then you actually play the experience and it's so slow and it's plodding and you're like, I just want to fucking find John, but then you're like, let me get this hot air balloon high up in the air, and then, oh, let's descend now, and then he's having the discussion with the operator, and he's like, oh, I haven't ate much today, and he's like, I got an egg on me. And it's like, it's a super small reprieve, and I think that's a large part of like Arthur's story is finding those small reprieves in the
Yeah.
middle of like, my whole world is falling a fucking part and I'm trying to hold it together. And stuff like that is super beautiful. So I'll shout out the hot air balloon sequence. I'll shout out the fucking inbred house raid. That was iconic. I mean, on a set piece level, this game is fucking phenomenal in the things that it puts you through in terms of like what would be the cowboy fantasy that I'd want to do, for better or for worse. They have you go through the whole fucking gambit. So I loved that as well. But I'll let the others talk about their favorite missions.
Favorite mission. I think. God, it's been so long since I've played Red Dead Redemption 2.
Is it time for a
Play it
replay?
again.
I think one of my favorite missions is when you break into the house or the
The
mansion.
Okay.
Insanity. And you know, everything goes wrong and you got the fucking trolley cart.
Yeah. Saint Denis is a great set piece for all those sequences of buildings, like, because you don't know how dense it is, and the exploration of it all is super fun, and like the secret back door and shit like that. It's like, ooh, this is so rich. I fucking eat this up. Mwah.
I actually almost wish there was like even more in Saint Denis, which is like fucking crazy to say. But like I wanted to like be forced to go to more areas in Saint Denis and like explore them more in depth. Like if I was a more dishonorable Arthur, like I
Where's
would
the
have
happy
explored. Exactly. Well, I like want to like I wanted to explore the like the docks area more, but I just like couldn't think of a reason I had to do that. Um, and if I had been a more bad Arthur, maybe I would have gone down there and stole some shit or something. But yeah, the area is just so big, so awesome, and yeah.
Raymond, what about your favorite sequences?
So, among my favorite sequences are probably in the juxtaposition of how ridiculous the KKK members are, an actually horrifying encounter that you can have that I hope you had a few with, at least, Pearl, is with the Night Folk.
Oh yeah, I unfortunately had one or two experiences with them.
I think my first one was probably the really, like, vulnerable lady crying in the woods, in the swamp.
Oh yeah,
And you
that
walk
was
up
one of
to
my
her,
favorites.
and she cuts you 2 times really fast, putting your health down to 5%. And then by the time you realize that there was something going on, there's already, like, 5 people immediately, like, running after you with knives. And I'm pretty sure I died on my first encounter because I couldn't, prepare myself for the people who were coming for behind me. So I was like, what the fuck was that shit? And yeah, they were definitely a nice wake-up call to everything that seems kind of understandable at first, in terms of gangs. And then suddenly there's these guys who don't even say a word, don't really need a motivation or have a motivation other than the fact that you're alive, and that offends them.
Yeah.
That, and I was a big fan of the murder mystery in Saint Denis. I don't know if you ever got to the end of that, but there are a number of murders that go about that can lead you to a nice, fun encounter towards the end of it.
I don't think I did that actually.
It is quite jarring for a minute there, but it does allow you to get a nice item towards the end, or at the very end. I won't say what, but it's always worth looking around and such.
Yeah, there's like one like white bubble of like side quests that I didn't do. Only one, and I wonder if it was that.
It's not a mission.
There's a lot of shit you can miss.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit that you can miss. I mean, it's hard because like we can have like literally 4 separate conversations of like what our favorite missions are, and we'd be like, I guess I didn't ever experience that or see that, things like that.
Yeah.
Like I know there's the cabin in the woods that if you go inside, you can get a UFO Easter egg to kind of.
Oh, yep, I got
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Yep. So
Yep.
that's a beautiful moment.
Or the creepy inbred town with a
Oh,
certain
yeah.
circle underneath a house.
There's a giant that you can find.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's sick.
Not
Yeah,
a mission.
he-
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, he's just kind of hanging out there. He's not.
Yeah.
It's not a mission, but I loved, and this was only really happening in the first, like, 3 chapters, I guess, maybe 4 chapters, but any time that a story quest or side mission justified more than, like, 4 or 5 of the camp members to go out on horseback to a destination
Oh,
was
yeah.
always awesome. Riding with the boys, literally, was always awesome, and the discussions that happened there were great. I'm like, yeah, give me good character development while I hear 5 sets of hooves clopping. I like this shit.
Honestly, yeah.
Eat that shit up. The small things that I really like to do, I'm gonna be honest. Like talking about tedium in the game, I really enjoyed cleaning your gun. Cleaning your gun in the game,
Oh yeah.
fun time. It's annoying to shop for shit to like get the materials to clean it, but like the actual act of like this gun, spick and span. I've got all my stats back and I'm ready to tear ass, and it looks good right now. So stuff like that I ate up, but I mean, there's so much like, oh, I love this detail. I love this detail. I love this detail. Getting crits by hitting a alligator in the center of the noggin. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to say that I mean this with like super love and respect, but Patrick, you would like that aspect.
Like what?
Cleaning your gun.
Oh yeah, I have OCD. Well, I don't
Yeah,
have
'cause
OCD.
you-
I have compulsions.
Might have OCD.
I have,
GCD.
I have general
You love
compulsions.
to clean. You have compulsions. You love to have a clean, spick and span location.
Not really. Not.
Uh-huh.
It's overhyped. It's just that you're messier than me, so it seems like I'm always like a clean. freak.
No, every single car you go into, you're like, let me clean this dashboard real quick. Let me clean it up.
Oh, that's like I gotta do something. That's like I gotta do something with my hands. Pause. So it's like a thing to do. I don't know. I guess I could see what you're saying. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't diagnose myself with OCD, but I wouldn't be shocked
Ryan?
if someone told me to. What else
Ryan
are
has
our
a
favorite
social-
details? Horse balls, shrinkflation.
Horse balls. My first experience walking in the woods randomly, seeing a rapid red dot coming towards me on the minimap, and the first mountain lion hooking my
Oh,
cheek with
God,
a fucking
yeah.
claw,
Yeah.
ripping me off the horse and murdering me.
Yes.
Great time. Terrifying.
Iconic.
Terrifying.
I've told Pearl about
I
that
didn't
as
do
well.
anything.
Yes.
I didn't even know you were there.
Yep. I know we're overtime here, but one thing I didn't really like about the game mechanically, and it's kind of been beaten to death in like Nikki Jakey videos and other like critique pieces, but like the game does not do a good enough job of giving the player a reason why they would want to rob a train, even though on paper we would all love to rob trains recreationally. Even with the bandana, like the wanted system is kind of a little bit borked in the game, and it's kind of annoying to deal with. And so, like putting yourself, subjugating yourself to the wanted system, and having like different county bounties to rob a train, it was like, oh, this kind of. I wish I enjoyed doing this activity more. Like I liked it in the context of the story because it was the story, but. I don't think I robbed many other trains after that moment much at all.
say I agree. That's like one of my things about the game that is probably the biggest critique is just like I didn't want to necessarily do the bad guy stuff, the bad guy part of being a cowboy, um, which I
The tax
think
collection.
the tax collection. No, I just mean like robbing people. Like I like never went and fucking robbed people. Like only if the game demanded I did that did I ever really do it. I would have been fine just hunting, fishing, uh, you
Bitches.
know. Well, could I not fuck anyone in the game?
You can fuck.
You could?
Yeah, you definitely can fuck.
Oh. Really? Oh. Damn.
I don't think
Yeah.
you
Looks
can.
into it.
Oh.
Pretty
I think
sure
it's
you
just
can hire
implied.
a hooker.
Because
When
don't
you,
they like
yeah.
make it a choice that you can't hook up with anyone to preserve that like ex relationship thing and the tension kind of with that throughout the story? Like it's supposed to be like a
Kinda what I assumed.
will she, won't she kind of thing.
Pearl, did you ever meet
Yeah.
a widow living in the woods?
Maybe.
To be fair, half the cast are widows living in the woods.
Yeah.
There's a very specific one who doesn't know how to do anything, and you teach her how
Oh
to
yes,
do things.
yes. I really liked her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
She was definitely, I feel like, a possible love interest, in the mind
Yeah.
of Arthur, more than likely.
For sure. I even wondered at one point. Well, there was one point in the game, before like finishing out like Sadie's storyline that I was like, could like Sadie
Yeah.
and Arthur get together? And I think like
Maybe.
it's been potential, but no, they were both too like Sadie loved her deceased husband too much, I think, and she wasn't healed enough to consider moving on from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's probably true.
yeah, they had good chemistry in a lot of ways as well.
I think you bring up like a good thing that we don't like directly acknowledge of how incredibly well the game handles this, but like the characters, even if they don't get a lot of moments to like breathe, we know enough about each individual character to know that they have like things that go on in their lives and things that happen to them. And there's a whole bunch of character dynamics where you're like, oh, if it was just like, 12 months prior or 12 months later or under different circumstances, this whole relationship would be different because they would have been more healed from this situation and maybe they would have considered this more. And so like that Sadie kind of like getting over the whole X thing just like brought that to my mind of like so much of how the story could play out a lot differently had it just simply been at a different time, but these characters,
Yeah.
they're experiencing it in this like nowness that feels really exciting in the way that those characters are developed. But
Yeah, there's just like if Arthur hadn't been dying at the end, like maybe he could have like had something with that like woman in the forest, the widow, or like, had Arthur met other characters earlier, could he gone down a different path, like if, the whole like if he hadn't like beat Mr. Downs, would he have died? Like, like if he didn't have tuberculosis, could he have gotten away in that fight at the end?
It probably
No,
would have been a
like-
shorter fight, honestly.
Probably would have been a shorter fight. Like, it's just so crazy. Like the domino effects, but also just like the timing of things in the game. Like, just like truly, there's moments that make you go, man, but what if, in a way that like I don't know if a lot of other games have made me like think of like that. Like, just be like, damn, this is so just like they are in the reality of their reality, and that sucks.
yeah, it's like victim of their own circumstances, but you can't
Yeah.
control it because Blackwater has happened off screen already, so it is what it is at this point.
They've already set in motion such a huge event that you can't
It's
like,
beautiful.
change the reality. Yeah, it's just so good.
It's beautiful.
So now while I still have you here, Pearl, before you sign off and wrap up, I gotta ask the clickbaity tabloid question because
Do it.
it's important and I need
Fucking do it.
Ryan and Ray to hear you
Yes.
answer this on the record.
Ass or tits, I'll tell you no.
Horse balls or Arthur's balls? No.
Oh my god.
What I was gonna ask is 2018 Game Awards. should God of War rightfully have beaten Red Dead Redemption 2 for Game of the Year?
Ooh.
Hard to say.
Ooh.
Because now you've seen
was-
it. Now you've seen both sides.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that just a little bit because I was like, wait, what year did this come out? Man, that's hard because I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and I think I do like God of War 1 more than I like Ragnarok. It's hard. It's hard because God of War has, like, it has some open worldy elements, but it's a lot more like linear. And there are pros and cons of that. They have just like completely different like weapon systems, like completely different like style, but there's still some like father-son like tropes in both of them. Oh my god. I mean, I can say this. I believe. Well, it's hard. I haven't played God of War in several years, but I believe at this moment I can say that I like Red Dead Redemption 2 more. Do I think it should have won? Well, I think like within the context of the Game Awards, right? Like Breath of the Wild had just won, right, in 2017, 2016, one of the two. And that's a big open world game similar style to Red Dead. And I think God of War probably at the time would have felt fresher. But should it have won? I don't know if like I would say one is inherently better than the other. As much as I like think I probably like Red Dead more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like very on like similar footing. So I think that is like truly a matter of personal opinion.
It's tough, and I'm thinking about it because like it's gonna be one of the debates that it's just gonna go down in video game pop culture kind of history of like is that the biggest upset, or is it like the mad cause I'm right kind of takes ever to go down. And what I will say is that God of War 2018 is super special in the way that like it did reboot and reinvent itself and made us care on a different level for a character that wasn't supposed to be like this deeply emotionally sympathetic. You're supposed to understand where he's coming from when he goes on his revenge quest, but not in the same way that 2018 is trying to take it, where he's trying to escape being this haunted figure of his own past, and Athena's throwing it in his face, and you're gonna always have that blaze of chaos moment, and you're gonna always enjoy those moments with Atreus and all that type of stuff. But as I think at the time I definitely said that God of War 2018 is better than Red Dead 2, and I definitely had the mad because this is the right take kind of outlook. I will give a nod to Red Dead 2 of like, I just think Red Dead 2 ages ever so gracefully in the way that we can still have water cooler moments about Red Dead 2, even though I haven't played the game in 8 years and we haven't played the game in a bunch of time, and we can still pull on memories even though it's a big ass open world game. And I give them credit of like, instead of having a mythology of gods to pull from, they made us like absolutely hate the fucking guts of a guy named Micah, and care so deeply about just a random fucker named Arthur and shit like that. So like, you took a whole bunch of nobodies, you put them together, and you made me say, I care about what happens to you. And I think, and I don't think Red Dead 2 is slept on by any means or like under celebrated, but like, I do think when the God of War glazers bring up and sing the high hopes of God of War, rightfully so, I do think they get lost in the sauce of like how much Red Dead 2 had to accomplish, of like not only follow Red Dead 1, which was a beloved game that everyone's like, well, we saw the ending, why do we care about a prequel? That's the thing, Red Dead 2 had to justify its existence as a prequel, and it did so in such massive ways, and created an experience that I think is still unlike any other. I mean, 8 years after the fact, and we don't got a rootin' tootin' shooting cowboy game like this. So it's tough, but I figured I had to ask because it is clickbaity and it is fun to talk about.
Yeah, I'm interested, like, if I played them more closer together, what I'd think. Like, part of my like hesitancy in answering more like what's the word I'm looking for?
Definitively.
Like definitively, thank you. Is that like it's been 5 years since I played God of War, and I have the recency bias going for
Yeah.
Red Dead, and so I know like for a fact like the soundtrack for God of War is a huge thing. I think that's a phenomenal soundtrack, and like I love that soundtrack so much. There are like certain moments in God of War, like with Kratos, that I just think are so amazing, just like so fantastic, that I just think are some of my like favorite video game moments ever. And so I'm interested to think about it a little more. Like that's why, like when I finished Red Dead, I said this might be one of my favorite video games, but I need to think about it longer. And I still like don't know exactly like what I'd rank it. I have to like kind of sit down and like do that. But I just am glad.
If Arthur had
as much as I'm,
2B's
like, sad I
ass,
didn't
you
play
wouldn't even
early-
debate it. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, Arthur's already thick. You can put him in some good pants.
This is true.
He is.
Yeah, this is true. You guys just aren't looking enough. I'm looking enough.
I failed him.
You failed him. You didn't respect his ass, and consider that tonight when you go to bed. I think the what was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Some. I don't remember. What was I saying?
You were saying
What-
Red Dead
what-
2 better, Kratos can suck it or something like that. You said something like that.
Kratos mid. Yeah, Kratos mid. I hate God of War. Bad game.
No,
Something
you were
about
talking
my
about
game rate.
recency bias and the difficulties of comparing the
Yeah.
two games and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I had a specific thought process that I don't know where it was at. I don't know. Well, anyway, oh, that's what it was. It was well, I'm like there's a part of me that's like, man, I could have played this game 5 years ago. That would have been awesome. Like, I am really glad that I played it when I did, because I don't know, like you said, this game has aged really well, but I just think like a lot of like the things that the game is considering just like hit me in a way that was good right now, and it probably would have hit me in a different way that was good back then. But sometimes it's like a series just kind of hits you at the right time, and I think this game waited to hit me at the right time, and so I'm kind of happy with the delay in my uptake of it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. As someone who strongly said for years, play Red Dead 2, play Red Dead 2, play Red Dead 2. I'm glad it finally happened, for one, and two, I'm glad that it happened in a way that you could be put in a box and you weren't spoiled on much of any of the elements of the experience. I'm glad how well preserved the experience was for you, considering how innocently vulnerable you've been, galloping through the internet, not getting a
Yeah,
good
sure.
Arthur Morgan meme, staring at a sunrise at any point. You were fucking Neo in the Matrix, for not having seen that.
I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, but I
Yeah.
didn't have any context to understand.
I've had so many a Red Dead 2 reel sent to Ray being like, one day Pearl will understand. I can't wait for that day, things like that. And finally, I can now sandbag your DMs with Red Dead 2 montages and shit like that coming through there. So it's a special experience. And I'm excited to re-experience it maybe one of these years. I mean, we're literally less than 2 years away from a 10-year anniversary, so that'll have to be due.
Crazy.
Which is kind of nuts to say it out loud, but that's just how time works. It just keeps going. But with that being said, I know it's just about 10:40. I want to respect Pearl's time and let her to get some sleep, but Is there any closing thoughts, remarks from anyone regarding Red Dead 2, its experience, favorite moments, least favorite moments, or anything in between that they'd like to call out before we wrap?
There are still some hidden mysteries, particularly those murals on the mountain and maps that have not been finished or not been solved, and they may never be solved.
Has anyone
That's
seen
very
Gavin?
upsetting. And yeah, Gavin, fucking hell.
Where's Gavin?
And the fact that they never did Undead Nightmare 2 is a huge loss, big
It
loss,
is. It definitely is.
or something equivalent, you know.
Rockstar being too big for their britches to do story DLC or any DLC for their last 2 games is a fucking crime, and they should be taken out back and shot because of it. Anyways,
Yeah, right
But
next
then
to Peter
Resurrected
Molyneux.
doing what they do.
right in front of Peter. Sorry, what did you say, Pro?
Oh, I said, and then Resurrected to keep doing what they do.
Yeah,
after-
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot them in front of Peter Molyneux, and I'm gonna say I like them a lot more than I like you. And then he'll really wonder what is about to happen.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, no. Lost opportunity not having DLC. I also do, even though I do like the idea of like this is the experience. This is what you see is what you get. I think like pulling from a completely separate thing, but you know, replaying the Mass Effect Legendary Collection, it was beautiful to have all that DLC conveniently there. But like Mass Effect 2 with the DLC characters is a great illustration of like there are parts of games that just because it's more does not mean you're increasing its value, and I saw those DLC characters was like a great example of like just because you have more content does not necessarily mean this is a better game now. But so I do understand like you're taking a risk when you add to a masterpiece because it's like don't touch it, you already had it, don't touch it. But yeah, shooting zombies in the West. God, I wish I did that. I still have to play Undead Nightmare in its entirety for Red Dead 1, so I got to catch up on that. But
Good time. Good time.
Ryan, any closing thoughts, remarks, or anything from you about Red Dead Redemption 2 and reminiscing on it or anything like that?
I think my only thing is just we can only hope that Rockstar is able to keep up this quality with whatever they decide to do. If they decide to keep going with Red Dead in some way, shape, or form, or if they decide to, you know, change it up, go something entirely wholly unique with the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part of me like is like they should keep continuing with this saga because they've kind of already fucked it up by having a Redemption 2, which is a mistake, but I understand why they did that. And part of me is like, what if we just kept going back? Like, what if we just went to the origins of the Vanderlyn gang? And I'm like, I don't know if I want a story where I see the upbringing of Dutch Vanderlyn or the bringing in of like a young Arthur, or a younger John, or whatever the case may be, but I'm down for any other cowboy experience that they create, or any experience period I think that they have coming up, because they clearly put in the effort, the thought, and all that type of stuff. It's just, I'm interested to see, since Sam Hauser left, how it's going to be different, because his DNA is like all over the story of this game. So we'll have to see. But Pearl, before we sign off, closing thoughts, remarks, comments, concerns.
Closing thoughts are that I still have like a laundry list of things about this game that I would love to talk your ear off about. That I just have things I want to like ponder aloud to the ether about the game. So I'm excited that eventually I will do that. You're gonna hear a lot more from me about my thoughts on the thoughts of the game. I did just get a message that the vulnerable community folks that I'm supposed to be driving home from work tomorrow do in fact need a ride home tomorrow, and I also have to go into the office tomorrow, so I really do need to go. I didn't quite realize how late it was getting, but thank you for pushing me to play the game. Beautiful, beautiful work in the game and in the world. Um, yeah, I gotta go.
And with
Just
that
leave
being
you
said, good night, Pearl. Thank you for
Good
discussing with us.
night.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye bye.
God, who
Banned.
was that? Who was that?
And
Don't
Never
ever
again.
make me record a 3-hour discussion with the stranger again, okay? Alright,
Disgusting.
boys. Well, we did our parts. Thank you for joining the discussion. I could probably let you guys get going here too. I'm just wrapping up this recording and yeah.
Same.